offenses have always been prolific. And this place is rocking. Justin Vogel puts a foot to it, and we're underway in the ACC. Charles Gaines, the Miami native, returning it for Louisville. And the Hurricanes are all over him as he danced up to the 15-yard line. And that's where the Cardinals will put it in play first. When Louisville has the ball, here are the impact players. Dominique Brown is a fifth-year senior running back, had more than 800 yards a year ago. Gerald Christian's a tight end who Petrino will utilize extensively in his offense. Denzel Perryman is Miami's leader on defense. After the bowl loss to Louisville, he said, "I'm 0-1 against those guys. I'm not going 0-2. By the way, that quote posted on the Louisville weight room wall. 1st and 10, and Will Gardner takes his first snap as a starter. Petrino tries to give him an easy completion early, but he does not. It's incomplete, 2nd and 10.
Will Gardner takes over for a legend, and Teddy Bridgewater hasn't played a lot, but he's got all the tools. Great size, terrific arm strength. You're going to see a tip ball. It looked like Olsen Pierre in the middle of that defense getting a hand on that football. Nice job defensively to set up 2nd and 10.
Perryman was all over the coverage as well. Brown still the running back, and while Petrino noted for his work with quarterbacks, his offense is always very balanced, so they'll want to run tonight. Dominic Brown gets his first carry, and Miami is energized and ready to go, and making the stop is number 17, Tyreek McCord.
And Will's going to be in a good position. He's got playmakers around him. He's got an experienced running back, the lead rusher from a year ago. Four of your 5 offensive linemen back. Some receivers on the outside that are experienced, that have played a lot. First, 3rd down right here. Let's see what Miami does, too, defensively.
And I'm curious to see what Will Gardner does here. This is a big test. 3rd and long. You don't want to force it. If it's not there, just check the ball down. 3rd
down was a major problem for the Miami defense last year, and if that pass had been on target, Louisville would have converted this time.
Well, it was on target, but the ref was in perfect position playing the middle of the field there.
He was looking for Gerald Christian. Let's have a look.
Look at that. That's perfect D by the ref, man.
Well, maybe so, but that pass is behind him, Dave.
Well, because the ref was in front of him. He couldn't lead him. He was going to hit the zebra.
You got to throw it.
You got to trust the zebra.
Trust the zebra to duck and get out of the way. We have Rogers Redding in the booth with us right now. And Rogers is laughing at you already, David. 3 and out for the Cardinals. They're punted away. And a fair catch will be made by Stacy Coley. And Miami will have good field position for Brad Kaya's first college outing when the Hurricanes have the ball. The impact players are explosive. Duke Johnson needs 133 yards for 2,000 in his career. Missed a lot of time with a broken ankle last year. Phil Dorsett also coming back from injury. Lorenzo Malden is their leader on defense and a good pass rusher. And Charles Gaines, you saw him return a kick earlier. The good cover cornerback, who is a little bit chatty. He'll try to get into the receivers' heads over the course of the night. Brad Kaya, the true freshman, 2 days away from his 19th birthday, completes his first college pass, but he does not gain his first college yard yet, as Stacy Coley is knocked down behind the line of scrimmage.
And Miami's kind of been looking for a quarterback, and they've gone through a lot with injuries, and they've had a transfer come in, and they've got a lot of different looks. But Brad Kaya is going to get the start, 6'4", 218 pounds. True freshman. Came in, he's already lost about 20 pounds. And really, talking to the coaches, he's earned this start. And they have a lot of respect and trust in him. You saw play 1, they throw the football.
They raved about his maturity and how he grasped the offense. But this is what they'll want to do a lot of over the course of the night, is give it to Duke Johnson. And 3rd and long is coming up. And while Kaya is a talented guy, a highly recruited guy, Here's how they wound up with the true freshman starting at quarterback. Ryan Williams, the senior, is the leader of this team. He tore his ACL in the spring. He's working to get back. It was supposed that Kevin Olson would step in, but he's been suspended and remains suspended for a violation of team standards. And then Kaya comes into camp and beats out fifth-year senior Jake Heaps, who transferred in from Kansas after the Jayhawks changed their offensive system. Heaps more of a pro-style quarterback, but Kaya outperformed him in camp and won the starting job, and now will try to convert his first third down. Kaya throws it into the ground and takes a hit, and it'll be 3 and out.
Well, I think Miami was anticipating blitz coming from Louisville on third down, something their defensive coordinator Todd Grantham likes to do, but they only rushed 4. They moved the pocket. Welcome to college football, Brad Kaya. Clean shot, good football, and that's James Burgess, who is a heat-seeking missile, playing the middle linebacker spot for Louisville on defense. Louisville forces a 3-0.
And as talented as Kaya might be, he might be thinking they didn't quite do that at Chaminade High School in West Hills, California. Welcome to the ACC, Pally. Good punt. Drives the receiver back inside his 10. Kai De La Cruz makes the fair catch. Not adhering to the age-old standards of putting your heels on the 10 and not going backwards. A 48-yard punt. Louisville will start keeping its own end.
At the Lexus Golden Opportunity.
Terrific run in 4 years at Louisville. 22-1 in this stadium. 41-9 overall. An Orange Bowl victory. You see the winding road that led him to Arkansas and the disgraced exit there. Out of coaching for a year. Back at Western Kentucky last year. And when Charlie Strong took the Texas job, at least somewhat unexpectedly to some in the Louisville administration, Bob Petrino was on the short list. He repaired some relationships, and here he is tonight as the head coach of the Cardinals.
It's nice to come back to a place that's familiar. I thought talking to him yesterday, you could kind of get the feeling he was really amped up about this opportunity. Fans here can't be mad that he took a chance in the NFL. That's why he left after 4 years. That's every coach's dream to try that out. But again, 41-9 record here as the head coach. Did a lot of good things. I think he's really excited to be back in the challenge ahead in the ACC.
Back to the ground. Brown can be close to that first down marker. Very close. We'll see exactly where they spotted if they give him enough. But let's be honest about this with Petrino and Louisville. This is a very different job than it was when he took it the first time. Now, he made them a player on the national scene. But by playing in the Atlantic Coast Conference tonight, this is the 4th different conference Louisville has played in the last 11 years. But they finally have a permanent home. The budget is huge. This is a destination-type place now. I don't know if you could say that when he came here the first time.
And you say 4th conference, but this is the best. This is the best situation that they've been in now, because now they have an opportunity, if they win their conference, to play for it all or be in the college football Final Four. And listen, it's nice having a coach come back, too, that was 41-9. I mean, you know he's already won here. He knows what that takes. It's a track record of success that can't be denied. I guess
the big question is now, does he know what it takes to win in this conference? Playing better competition week in, week out. I think it's what a lot of Louisville fans and fans around the ACC in the country are looking forward to seeing.
That's not to suggest that the hire was not without controversy in some quarters. That's not, I mean, look, nobody is universal, but for the most part, he has really been received well by the Louisville fan base. But on the outside, there was some question about how long it would take Bob to get back to this level, and as it turns out, just a couple of years. He's back here tonight, trying to get Louisville right now. All he's thinking about is trying to get one chain link and convert the third down. Keep it on the ground. Dominic Brown. If Dominic got a chain link, that's about it. Maybe a little bit more, but it looks as if he surged ahead just enough to pick up that first down.
And Dominic Brown's going to have to get going in this game. He is a battering ram. He put on 25 pounds this past offseason. He's up to 240 pounds, and Reese, you mentioned it early. Bobby Petrino's offenses, they love running the football. You got a brand new quarterback making his first start. Got to make it easy on him. You got to have success running the ball.
Nobody back there to run it right now except for Will Gardner, the quarterback. On first down, the initial first down of the game for either team. Empty out, and Will Gardner cuts it loose and spins it right into Eli Rogers. Good pickup on first down. It'll be second and short. Now, the Cardinals are not necessarily at full strength on the offensive side. By far, their best receiver is Devontae Parker. He had 885 yards, 12 touchdowns last year, broke a foot. He's out for a while, and so too is Michael Dyer, who has a thigh bruise. Dyer, the former Auburn running back, who was the MVP of the BCS championship game, not expected to go tonight. On second and short, they'll take a shot, and for the second straight play, Eli Rogers makes the grab, and Gardner settles in and fires a couple of good balls. Pick up at 21.
I think one of the benefits Will Gardner has is his size. At 6'5", he can see the field, and you're just going to see Eli Rogers here just work a soft spot in the zone between cover two. Just a nice job of reading coverage, giving his receiver, sorry, it was Eli Rogers in the slot running the wheel route, but getting into that soft spot in that defense, and a nice throw.
A staple.
The wheel
of the
route.
Petrino offense is the wheel. He'll run it with the slots. He'll run it with running backs. Miami will have to be ready for it tonight. First and 10. Back to the ground. Brown hurdles the defender and gets into Miami territory. Denzel Perryman there on the stop.
And I think it's going to be important for Miami's defense, too. A year ago, they were really bad against the run. Really bad. They got to get more physical up front. They got to get off blockers. You see them, they're rotating between a 3-4 and a 4-3, trying to confuse Louisville up front. But if this defense is going to take that next step, it's got to come up front.
Gardner right on target again after showing some nerves early. Gardner's now completed his last 3 passes. Gerald Christian, the tight end, making the grab, another first down for the Cards.
Talked about how Bobby Petrino loves to use his tight ends, and Gerald Christian, the Florida transfer, is a very fluid athlete at 6'3", 250 pounds. Provides a big target for his quarterback over the middle of the field.
Miami defense has taken a lot of criticism over the last couple of years. Very confident in their defensive back play. What they really need is good play up front. Calvin Hurtaloo, junior college transfer, they're hoping can anchor the middle and try to get some pressure on the outside from Chickalo. But no pressure coming this time as Rogers makes his third catch and close to another first down.
You said the key word, Reese, pressure. To add what you said, David, their defensive line needs to get better against the run, and they've got to find consistent pass rushers. They didn't have that last year either. Whether it's Anthony Chickalo, Tyreek McCord, Quan Muhammad, somebody has got to get pressure right now. Defensive coordinator Mark D'Onofrio, he hasn't been dialing up a lot of blitzes, playing a lot of coverage, but right now, without a pass rush, Will Gardner's just picking them apart.
He's getting that ball out of his hand so quick, it really wouldn't matter if you had Julius Peppers on the end.
Second and 1, rather than taking a shot, there's running for a shot and getting deep into the red zone and close to the 10-yard line is Dominique Brown, and Louisville is threatening big time.
Tremendous vision by Dominic Brown just on the zone read, seeing the cutback. And trust me, guys, 240 pounds, not a lot of DBs in this league, in this country.
That want some of that in the open field? Want any of that. Especially, and he squares his shoulders at the end of runs, too. He's not trying to juke you. He's trying to put you on his hood.
Puts some K's on the hood, picked up 19 and his first and goal. Might as well give it right back to him. Brown trying to bounce it to the outside, pick up a 3.5, maybe 4. Before he stopped by Trent Harris.
But I think if you're Bobby Petrino, you got to like the rhythm your offense has now gotten into. After a 3-and-out in the first drive, you completed some throws, threw it a lot on first down, keeping this Miami defense off guard. You've also had success running it, so they've showed good balance.
This drive started at the 7-yard line, the 11th play. You see Petrino and his offensive coordinator, Garrett McGee. Brown hit in the backfield, gets away from Hurtaloo, still driving down close to the goal. It'll be third down and goal coming up for Louisville.
And Hurtaloo had a perfect chance in the backfield. Great job blowing up the center. But you got to wrap up Brown. And that's the thing about Brown. He's 240 pounds. Tough to bring down. This is an area where Louisville struggled a year ago.
Yeah.
In running the football in power situations, they couldn't line up and physically dominate folks. When you see Brown carrying the football, I'm giving him the ball, letting him go north side.
I would run behind Brown. They got a big left tackle, Jamon Brown, who they'll flip sides with. Right now he's on the right-hand side. You see right here their 2 biggest linemen, Jamon Brown and John Miller. That's the strength.
Third and goal. Gardner roll. He's got a man in the back of the end zone. He has one in the middle, too. Touchdown, but there's a flag. Making the catch was Charles Stanberry, a freshman out of Montgomery, Alabama, but let's check the flag.
Offside. Defense. Number 47. Touchdown.
Louisville has his first touchdown as an ACC member.
You see Chris Acosta right here get a pull, and it kind of draws the defense that way. It's a nice play design. There were a couple targets I thought here Will Gardner could have taken advantage of.
That's the answer to your trivia question. Who scored the first touchdown for Louisville as members of the ACC? The Charles Stanberry. They think he eventually will be a star. He has a matchup as good as we've seen in a while in the uniform watch, right?
Solid. I mean, you see some bad helmets. You see some swings and some misses in college football.
You didn't like Maryland a couple of years ago when they played Miami?
I think both these are pretty sweet. No, that was bad. No, that's horrible. Boise's week 1 wasn't great either, the first game we called, but
some good lids tonight. Stacy Coley's deep to return the kickoff for Miami. And his speedy sophomore will have it. See if he can find the seat. He's got a little bit of one. Didn't quite squirt through, knocked down at the 31-yard line. That's where the Hurricanes will have it. James Burgess on the stop. Saturday afternoon, college football. Why not just dive in the Pac-12 with USC and Stanford, 3:30 Eastern time. Steve Sarkisian's debut was an outstanding one as Cody Kessler looked terrific against Fresno State. Fresno State's one thing, Stanford's quite another. David Shaw and the Cardinal, the reigning Pac-12 champion, will take on SC on ABC Saturday. And Coley, a little bit dinged up. Hopefully just had the wind knocked out of him. He's a big part of the offense. He was favoring his shoulder. The quick completion to Braxton Berrios, and the freshman makes the grab, but he's knocked down by Andrew Johnson.
There's some thumping going on in this game. Take a look back at this return by Coley. Boom. Burgess again. You saw him hit Brad Kai earlier in the game. I'm telling you guys, this guy's got a radar in his helmet. I don't know how he finds the ball the way he does. He delivers the work.
Burgess is from Homestead, Florida, and there's Coley. He's still a little shaken up. Louisville has recruited extensively in the state of Florida. 33 kids on their roster from the state, 15 or so from the greater Miami area. Here's Duke Johnson. Not much running room for the Duke. It'll be 3rd and long.
But that's a name we need to hear a lot. Yeah. And he's been banged up the last couple years, and you probably want to limit his touches too much, but he's so dynamic, catching the ball, running the ball. Duke needs to be the central focus of this offense.
And David, I don't think you need to overthink things if you're offensive coordinator James Coley either. I mean, you got a true freshman making his first start here on the road. Find easy ways and simple ways to get the ball in the hands of your playmakers. It's not just Johnson. They've got a lot of speed at wide receiver. They got a very good tight end in Clyde Walford. Your quarterback doesn't have to win this game necessarily early. Just make it easy on him. You got to get him in a rhythm.
You're trying to heat up the freshman with pressure. He gets rid of it. They're nowhere close. He was looking for Philip Dorsett. Keith Kelsey was applying the pressure, and Miami's had it twice and gone 3 and out both times.
And you go through all this camp, and football's pretty easy. You don't get licked. You don't get hit at all in practice. You start to get in the game. They start bringing the house, and they start doing this over and over. That progression speeds up pretty quickly, and he's got to slow it down and make the throws that coaches have talked about he's made all camp.
Hey guys, that's the second time we've seen very smart hits by these Louisville linebackers. Clean, smart football. They're not launching themselves, trying to get the blow-up shot because they've had the kill shot out there. Very, very smart football so far by Louisville on D.
Justin Vogel in punt formation. Vogel, a short, low kick, but he's going to get a great benefit from the roll, and it's going to look like a thing of beauty in the stat boxes. Miami will touch it dead at the 10 after a 56-yard kick. Most of that coming on the roll. Will Gardner threw a touchdown pass to Charles Stanberry the last time Louisville had it. The Cardinals went a long way. We'll see if they can do it again.
Physical run game. Then you can do this play action, bootleg, keep them off balance.
the more completions he gets going here, it'll be interesting to watch how his confidence starts to rise as this game goes on.
Well, if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm not letting his confidence rise. I'm going to start attacking him a little bit more, starting right here.
Cardinals giving a little bit of a break to Dominic Brown and running the freshman L.J. Scott. It'll be 2nd down and long. And David, you think this is an important series for defensive coordinator Mark D'Onofrio?
Yeah, I don't think you can let any quarterback sit back in the pocket and play zone. Now listen, I understand. Remember, this game was played in December, and they played man. They tried to press these receivers, and it turned out really ugly for Miami. But this is a different year. And the strength of Miami's defense is their secondary. You have to be able to play man coverage. You have to be able to blitz and put some pressure on the quarterback.
2nd and 11. Scott, one of the top backs out of Ohio.
David, the reason they
Check
got...
that. It was Brown, I believe. Sorry, Jesse.
The reason they got gashed last year, guys, Devontae Parker was on the field.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a problem. He had 9 catches for $142 and a touch. Now, this is still a very good receiving core, even without Devontae Parker on the field, but you've talked about at Miami how you're deeper in the secondary, right? You've got guys that can match up and go man-to-man. Make them prove to you. Make Louisville prove to you. They've got somebody else that can make big plays on the outside.
On 3rd down, trying to get it over the middle of the field. He was looking for Christian again. And there is a flag that comes in across the way at about the 27-yard line. ACC crew tonight led by Gary Patterson in the white hat.
Dead ball, personal foul. Number 12 on the offense. That'll be half the distance to the goal. 4th down.
Ty Dela Cruz was the one caught for the personal foul, much to the chagrin of his head coach. Dela Cruz, a veteran player, senior. With the trademark cardinal red coiffure on top, which just about matches the color of the face of his coaches after he got hit with that personal foul penalty. So Ryan Johnson is now going to have to punt out of his own end zone. Stacy Coley standing at his own 47. A low line drive kick, and Coley comes up to make the grab. Slips away from the tackle. Coley has receiving, he has great speed. One man to beat. Can he get around the corner? He cannot, but the Canes are set up unless the flag's going to bring him back. There's a flag sitting at the 28-yard line that is probably going to bring this back a ways, but Miami still should have good field position.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Number 51 on the receiving team. 2-yard starting foul. 4th down.
Well, that'll somewhat negate a nifty 30-yard return. So instead of having the ball in the red zone, they will have it at the 38-yard line of Louisville. Here's the personal foul penalty called on Kai De La Cruz.
Well, that's not Kai De La Cruz at the top of the screen. That's Michael Lee Harris, number 2. You're going to see him right here.
No,
sorry, top of the screen, right here. I'm sorry. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm only, 35. Losing my vision. You see a slap in the face to the head of Artie Burns, which you just can't do, especially from a receiver that's a senior.
Well, Miami gets a break, and they go right to Duke Johnson. Well, certainly could have been a bigger break if the punt return had stood up, but excellent field position nonetheless. They haven't been able to do much running the football.
Saw a big play right there from Lorenzo Malden, one of our impact players, kind of playing a new position now at the outside linebacker spot where he's going to be counted to rush the quarterback a lot. But David, he's also got the ability to play the run as well and shed blocks.
Yeah, and that's what's going to be interesting because he was a little bit banged up in the spring. He's not a big guy, but he had 9.5 sacks a year ago. Can he play physical in the run game, especially against Flowers, who was a great left tackle for Miami.
Try to get Duke on the edge. A lot of black jerseys over there, nowhere to go, and it's 3rd and long.
The thing that still stands out about this defense to me, and I think, David, you just pointed out too, a lot of speed. And Miami loves the outside zone run plays, trying to get Duke Johnson to the perimeter, but this Louisville defense for years now, whether it was under Charlie Strong or now under Todd Grantham, these guys can run sideline to sideline. So huge down again. We talked about how this defense likes the pressure on third down. Each of the last 2 third downs, they've gotten to Brad Kaya and popped them. Brad Kaya here has to have a plan. He's got to anticipate pressure and know where he's going with the football.
Louisville led the nation in third down defense last year. And in total defense for that matter. Tried to surprise him, keeping it on the ground with Johnson, and he gets down to the 33. He'll be about 5 yards short of the first down. Now the question becomes what you think about the range to your field goal kicker. The wind is blowing in that direction, which should give Matt Gudis a little more leg. His career long is 49. But the offense is staying out there right now.
You think with that run, maybe you try to surprise him, get 4 or 5 yards, and just make this fourth down a little easier.
Fourth down and 5. And inside the 35, not much to be gained from punting right at the edge of Gudis' range. Golden fakes. Let's see what they do. Play clock's on top of it. You're going to have to use the timeout. And they do before they get the delay of game penalty.
Timeout. Miami. The first timeout for the first half.
But this is where it's not ideal. You got a freshman quarterback
at the Cardinal Stadium, and all the fans wear black, team dressed in black. And the freshman Brad Kaya of Miami trying to get a fourth down conversion for the Hurricanes and keep this drive alive. If you want to call it a drive, they just got the start in Louisville territory. Still looking for their first down. Kaya fires complete. A flag comes in late. So Barrios caught it right on the first down marker.
And that's a great catch because he was contacted before the ball even got there and still concentrated and hung on to the catch. Big play. Maybe that settles Kaya down a little bit. Got him a first down now.
I thought it was also a really good throw at the location.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 19. Spot foul. Automatic. First down.
They don't have to worry about exactly where it was spotted with the automatic first down. So the Hurricanes inside the 30.
You're going to see here just in the slot, number 83 at the top, just running a slant. He's running it against Terrell Floyd, who's playing safety, used to play corner. It's a good call. But look at the location of the throw. Puts it lower into the body where only his receiver can make the play. That's a nice, safe throw, converting a huge fourth down.
Inside a minute to play here in the first quarter. Hurricanes trying to draw even. And another flag comes out, and it'll be a false start on the Hurricanes.
Prior to the snap, false start. Number 9 on the offense. 5 yards, first down.
That's Malcolm Lewis, the wide receiver. He's battled injuries over the last couple of years. They have a deep core of wide receivers at Miami. The question is, can they keep them healthy? And that's been problematic the last couple of years. Just over a half minute to play in the first quarter. It's a first down play. Back to the ground with Duke Johnson, and Duke's going to be hit in the backfield, and Louisville throwing Miami in reverse. Lorenzo Malden making the stop.
He's got tremendous blitz, tremendous get-off off the line of scrimmage, and he's a problem right now for this Miami offensive line. They're going to have to discuss and find ways to get him.
To be members of the ACC, their first game is in football as members of the Atlantic Coast Conference. Cardinals, one of the teams that found a great spot in the whole realignment thing that we've dealt with in college football over the last few years. Brad Kaya, the freshman, has a man out there. It's Clive Walford, and he's inside the Louisville 5. It'll be first and goal for the Canes.
Clive Walford's one of those weapons we talked about on offense surrounding Brad Kaya. 6'4", 260 with tremendous speed, and he gets wide open on the play action on the corner out here. And here's another throw by Brad Kaya under duress from Sheldon Rankins.
Yeah, he's been hit so many times already to start the game, but that's a big play for him in this offense to get moving.
Kaya hits Walford for 31 yards, and now Miami is threatening to tie it. Walter Tucker's at fullback. Duke Johnson at tail. Kaya's going to throw it on first down. Wide open in the end zone is Walford again. Touchdown, Miami.
Walford to the end zone for a 2-yard touchdown.
So you want a security blanket for your freshman quarterback? How about a veteran tight end?
And I like the play calling by offensive coordinator James Coley. Back-to-back play action. using one of the best tight ends, maybe the best tight end in the conference. Clive Walford just in the back corner of the end zone. As you say, Reese, easy throws, and that's an impressive drive for the true freshman, guys. Remember the big 4th down conversion earlier in the drive by Kaya to keep that drive alive?
That's Terrell Floyd, who's slow to get to his feet. Floyd, a veteran defensive back from Miami, who were awaiting the extra point for the Hurricanes after the touchdown. And we're pleased to be joined here in the broadcast booth tonight by Louisville Athletic Director Tom Jurich. And Tom, this is an important night for Louisville. You guys are playing in your 4th different conference in the last 11 years. Obviously, this is the permanent one now. What does it mean for Louisville football to be in the ACC?
Well, first of all, it's great for the entire institution. I think for what we're going to be able to do from top to bottom in all the sports is fantastic. Where football, to be able to start out like this and to play in such a premier league like this is going to help us so much, not just in recruiting, but everything that we do across the board.
As you guys go into this era, you had to make the coaching change when Charlie Strong decided to take the Texas job. What was it that convinced you that Bob Petrino had changed and was the right man to lead this football program?
Well, I've known Bobby since the late 80s. You know, I hired him first time when he came here in 1997 with John L. Smith. I hired him for his first head coaching job in 2002. And then I was able to follow him through his trials and tribulations. And, you know, one thing about Bobby, I wanted to look at to see, did he redeem himself? Did he really do the things that I felt were necessary for him to make changes in his life? And he certainly has. And what I've looked at and spent a lot of time with is looking at how he's been with his family. His family comes first. His wife and him are in a great place. And the thing that I like so much, he's at peace with himself. And, you know, the thing about that I always look at, who am I not to forgive him? I mean, who am I not to forgive him? And I wanted to make sure that he had that opportunity. I had a lot of great candidates for this job. You know, they have big shoes to fill. Charlie Strong and his staff did a phenomenal job here. And so I needed somebody that could come in here and do the great job. But I didn't care so much right off the bat about the football. I wanted to make sure Bobby was a different person. And he certainly has proved it to us in the last 8 months.
So how would you describe that initial meeting with him?
It was tense. There's no question about it. We probably met 2.5, 3 years ago, but that was more about just him personally. That's all I cared about. I wanted to see him get right personally. I didn't care about the football part, and I don't think he did either. He knows he made mistakes, and he owned up to them, and that was the thing I wanted to do. I wanted to make sure that he understood he needed to look in a mirror. It was between him and the mirror to make sure that he had to make things right.
How would you say that the ceiling is now different for Louisville football in this era in the ACC with Coach Petrino on the sideline than it was the first time he was here when you were moving conferences and so forth? We see the kickoff getting out to about the 20-yard line. I said earlier tonight that I think this is a different job now than it was then.
Well, it's a much different job now. Now we're in a conference like this. We've got stability. I think Bobby's 10 years older than he was before. I think he's seen a lot. He's been through the NFL. He's been through Arkansas. He's had success everywhere he's gone. At Western Kentucky, he did a phenomenal job. So I think his maturity level is a much different place now. I think now what Bobby's doing, he's looking at building a program, not worrying so much about a team, and that's what I really like about it.
And it's a pretty good program, top to bottom, in athletics here at Louisville.
Thank you.
Basketball on both sides, baseball and across other sports as well. Tom, thanks for spending time with us tonight.
Thanks, Reese. It's always great to have you guys.
Best of luck. Congratulations on the ACC, and good luck this year. Tom Jurich, the athletic director here at the University of Louisville, and you see how Bob Petrino has been welcomed here in the Derby City. And he's in the middle of a good one here in the ACC on ESPN as the Hurricanes just answered with a touchdown drive of their own. Penalty on the kickoff return will have the Cardinals starting at their 10-yard line. Will Gardner hit and fumble, balls on the ground. And the attempt to scoop and score might have cost. It was Thurston Armbrister who got it, who was able to get it. And I thought for a second that there was going to be a scoop and score, but Armbrister jumped on it wisely, and the Hurricanes are set up.
And we talked about Miami bringing pressure. Watch what they do off the edge right here. Watch the stunts on the inside. They bring pressure. Look how many guys are coming. They're bringing 6 guys. Get to the quarterback, cause the fumble. Great job adjusting and bringing pressure on the young quarterback.
Harriman and Chickalo knocked it free. Armbrister jumped on top of it. Jermaine Grace, number 5, had in mind going in and grabbing that thing and trying to score, but Armbrister makes sure that the Hurricanes are set up. Last season, the Cardinals only turned it over 10 times with Harriman, who said he didn't plan to go 0-2 against Louisville. A huge hand in forcing this turnover, and substitutions coming on the field late for Louisville. They've got an extra man outside, and is that a backward pass and a fumble? Maybe it is, and going the other way is Louisville. No, the officials at the other end are waving incomplete pass. So this is a glorified wind sprint. As Keith Kelsey, who was quite certain he had his moment of glory coming, but
it's not a glorified wind sprint because you don't know the difference. And it bothers you so bad.
Previous play.
Yeah, but if it's an immediate recovery, he doesn't get the advance anyway, so it's still a glorified wind sprint.
No, but if you threw it backwards, he could pick it up and still score.
Right.
And you can't hear in here, so I don't know that he knew. And it took the refs for about 3 seconds to decide whether it was a backwards pass or not.
Guys, I think it was backwards.
Yeah.
Looking at it from that angle, you know, based on where Brad Kaya's body was.
Yeah, the line of scrimmage is, but you don't know where Kaya was
it's where
exactly.
Kaya was when he threw it. And
Yeah.
that's the question mark. Now, the ruling on the field is incomplete pass, so you need indisputable video evidence to overturn that. I'll tell you what, 2 things. I was shocked, 1, Louisville didn't call a timeout because they weren't lined up on defense, and 2, I'm surprised Brad Kaya didn't complete this throw. I mean, he had Coley wide open right there. He would have walked in.
Yeah.
If he makes that a better pass. Instead, he turns it into a circus.
Here might be the best look. He backs up a couple steps.
He looks like he's on.
That looks
still
backwards.
I think that's backwards.
I do too.
But how many times do you see defensive guys just stop and they don't pick up the ball and it ends up being a live ball? It's a great heads-up play. Pick up the ball.
No. Picking up the ball is fine. I was just saying the run, he doesn't get the run.
I couldn't hear, guys. Did the referees blow that dead, or did they let Kelsey run it in and score before they blew it dead?
It took him about 4 seconds.
I thought they blew it dead because they were waving incomplete. We have Rogers Redding, supervisor officials, in with us tonight, and Rogers confirming that. The ruling on the field's incomplete pass, and our replay official is Ted Jackson.
See, it looks to me like when he throws this ball, he's just behind the 10-yard line, maybe at the 11, right there. His back foot's about at the 11, 10.5, 11-yard line. You look over at Coley.
After further review, the ruling on the field is reversed. The backward pass, immediate recovery by the defensive team. The ball is blown dead. First down, Louisville at the 13-yard line, right hash.
So the fans are happy they're getting the ball, but mad that they don't get the touchdown.
Yeah.
And that's a rule implemented a couple of years ago that they can review if there is an immediate recovery by the other team. They get possession of the ball, even if it was blown dead, but they cannot advance it, which they did.
This is the best angle you're seeing right here. And that was the right call to overturn that. And, guys, what a blown opportunity by Miami. A play right after they force a fumble on Will Gardner, a mistake by one quarterback making his first start, then the other true freshman making his first start. It makes a bad play.
And I love the call by the refs because so many times it's a cop-out and they say the call stands. That was close, but you could tell it still went behind the line of scrimmage a little bit. It's a great job by the referees.
And some of the Louisville fans might say they would have preferred them to let the play go. Gardner, he just about got his receiver. His head knocked off. That was Antonio Crawford coming across on Eli Rogers. And some of the Louisville fans wanted a pass interference and thought that Crawford arrived early.
Take a look at this again.
He did?
Yeah, he did. He got his hands around his neck.
Yeah, it's pass interference.
Yeah, no doubt. I'll say this. I like the call by Bobby Petrino, putting a lot of confidence in Will Gardner. The very first play back. Don't run the ball, keep it safe. Take a shot down the seam. I think Miami got away with one there.
I don't think, I know.
You just know things, Rich. You got a lot of knowledge.
Just be decisive sometimes. Get it off just before the play clock expires. Gardner has a wide open receiver. And the catch, but closing quickly was Deion Bush to make the tackle. We'll see where Brown is marked down, Dominic Brown.
I feel like Louisville's had their most success tonight throwing it over the middle, but also when they've spread the field too. You know, guys, they've had a lot of empty formations without running backs in the backfield. And I think for a young quarterback, that's a good thing. When you can spread out the field, it's easier as a quarterback, especially if you're 6'5", to see where the pressures are coming from because guys are spread out wider. You can read coverages a little bit easier.
Catch completion and first down.
They're going to have a than the rest of his crew. I wouldn't be holding my breath waiting on any invitations to any derby parties next May.
No, and it's still technically week 1. And you can see the last 3 or 4 plays here, the refs, they got some ironing out to do.
No mint juleps?
Only at the Derby, my friend. But the important thing is replay is in position to get calls right, and this is the right thing.
Yeah.
They've spotted it at the right place, so third and a short one. And Brown gets knocked down. It looked as if he was going to get the first down easily, but Denzel Perryman turned him back.
And he's a great football player. He does a great job attacking. Watch 52, Perryman in the middle of the screen. Watch him attack. Look at him come downhill. Do a great job finding Brown. And again, Brown's 240 pounds. You also got to get him to the ground. It's a great tackle.
He's hard to block, and he's low to the ground at 6 feet tall. He slips blocks, he finds the football. Heart and soul of his defense. He put his grade into the NFL last year. They gave him a third-round grade. So he decided to come back, and that was huge for this Miami defense this year. Remember, they played bad defense really the last 3 years. Getting him back was big, and that's short.
And so when you wonder, now obviously on a first down call, you know why, but a lot of times you wonder about the importance of the spot. How important was that overturn of the spot now? We have a fourth.
Bobby's first big decision, huh?
Well,
he's an offensive
and he likes
guy at Earth.
he likes his defense apparently a lot.
They do a lot of gambling in this town on horse races, and Bobby's going to gamble on his horse. A lot of guys lined up to the left, unbalanced. The flag flies. The first down is picked up easily by Brown. Well, let's see what the flag is. Sitting right at the line of scrimmage. Okay. I think Miami might have lined up in the neutral
Offside.
zone. Yeah.
Defense. A penalty for flag. First down.
We saw Patterson counting off the yards and basically saying same thing. Wound up about the same spot as the penalty would.
And Miami's defense has to be more alert. Look, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys and a fullback right here offset. Look at this gap right here. Somebody's got to be in the gap. The defensive line has to slide over. Makes it way too simple on Louisville.
On first down, Gardner avoids some trouble and gets it out and completes it to Kai De La Cruz.
You got to wonder he's feeling when you replace a legend like Teddy Bridgewater here at Louisville. Guy's a first-round pick. Now you're Will Gardner. You're a captain. You're playing at home. It's your first start. You're on national television. The last time that you played this team, you watched Teddy Bridgewater throw for 447 on him. So it's easy to want to come out here and be perfect and make every single throw. Guys, so far, I've been pretty impressed with him. The decisions he's made, with the exception of the fumble in his own end, he's been pretty good, taking what the defense has given him.
He's at 7 of 11 for 65 yards. Brown back to the ground. He knocked down just a little short of the first down. Another third down coming for the Cards. We've got a Hurricane slow to get up. That's Calvin Hurtaloo. We'll check on him in a moment. Jesse was talking about Teddy Bridgewater and what a remarkable career it was for him as a Louisville Cardinal, and he's doing well in his first season at Minnesota so far. You spent some time with him in the film room when we were here last year, and you came away really impressed.
It was unbelievable
with how quickly he can dissect things. And
yeah. I mean, the one thing about Teddy Bridgewater, you can talk about accuracy. We had all the chance of us to watch him play a lot, but in the film room, he was off the charts in terms of understanding defense. His coaching staff and Sean Watson, their coordinator, did a great job with him. And Will Gardner now getting a chance to play with for one of the best, and Bobby Petrino. And it looks like he's pretty dialed into this offense, what they're running.
Hurricane staff out checking on Hurtaloo. We'll come back after this.
Can I take your order?
Can I get a cheeseburger, please? And
You said cheeseburger?
Under those lights. Muhammad Ali from here in Louisville inspiring the Cardinals, and tonight Bobby Petrino's team getting to dance under these lights, trying to convert a 3rd and 1. Play fake from Gardner. Chicolo had a shot at Gardner and couldn't pull him down, and Gardner gets across the marker and picks up the first down. Ufamba Kamalu was also after.
There's that mobility we talked about with Gardner. It's very rare a 6'5" quarterback can run a 4.55 40. Breaks an arm tackle. There's a face mask there. I think they got away with also. It looks like Cortell Jenkins, the true freshman, grabbed on the face mask, but nice job by the young quarterback, making a good decision tucking the ball.
Gardner firing underneath. The ball is not free. It'll be 2nd and 10. Samantha, what do you have on Hurtley?
Reese athletic trainers are still working on that right leg, but it doesn't look good. They had him stand up and try to walk. He was walking very gingerly, couldn't put any pressure on that right foot. I'll keep an eye on it for you.
All right, Samantha. Hurtley was a junior college guy who was recruited by several, but saw a pressing need at Miami. Thought he would get a chance to play quickly, and he has. We'll hope he's okay. As Gardner fires short and complete, about 4 yards short of a first down. James Quick, the Louisville native, making the catch.
And Sam, that's big because with that injury to Hurtley, Cortell Jenkins, a true freshman, has been playing. And we talked about how this defensive line needs to be a lot better this year. There are a lot of young guys out there right now on the field rotating in and out, not very experienced in this game.
Louisville's 3 for 6 on 3rd down tonight. Gardner another opportunity. Gardner has a man wide open, and is flat dropped by Michael Lee Harris, who took a shot from Deion Bush afterwards. And Harris, a Miami native, had a chance for a big play against his hometown school, and he couldn't hang on to the pass.
And that was a great decision. It was wide open. He threw it right to him, and he just didn't concentrate. He wasn't even close to getting hit either. He was just making that move. He didn't want to get hit. And he took the shot anyways. That's the thing you don't understand. You're going to get hit regardless, so catch the football.
But the thing about it, as a receiver, easy for me to say this as a former quarterback, but when you're going to go over the middle, you're going to get hit anyway.
Yeah.
So you might as well just catch the ball.
Yeah. Says the guy doesn't get hit.
Well, I used to get hit.
No, but I completely agree with you.
Well, I think Michael Lee had visions of touchdowns dancing in his head, too. Punt drives Coley inside his 5. Ill-advised to grab it unless he could get free from a couple of tackles, and he could not. So the Hurricanes will start on their own 5 as we say hello to Chris Cotter.
Hello, Reese. Time for the Dr. Pepper Conference Update. Pac-12, 2 huge games on Saturday, including USC and Stanford on the farm. Last year, the Trojans won in the Coliseum. Can David Shaw's Cardinal exact a measure of revenge? 3:30 Saturday on ABC. Now back to Reese and the fellas in Louisville. Guys?
All right, Chris. Hurricanes going to start deep in their own end at the 5. Duke Johnson, maybe his best run of the night, picked up 6 or 7. Samantha, how's Brad Kaya holding up?
Yeah, we heard all week about how level-headed he is, how mature he is. I've been watching him on the sideline. That first quarter, he was pacing nonstop. Clearly some nerves there. After the touchdown, settled down, was getting some advice from Jake Heap. Guys, this is the first time they've started a true freshman quarterback since 08 when Ja'Cory Harris did it. That was against Charleston Southern. A little bit different from on the road in Louisville.
Just a bit, Sam. The Duke breaks 1 tackle. He heads toward the sideline, and there's going to be a face mask penalty tacked on to the end of that run. James Sample was the one who got Duke Johnson on the ground and also got his hand in his face mask. We await the penalty call here. Samantha's point on Kaya, the coaching staff tried to rattle him and shake him up.
Personal foul. Horse collar on the defense. 15 yards. And then the run. Automatic. First down.
Okay, so he got his hand in the back of his shoulder pads rather than the face mask, but the result is the same. There is Duke Johnson's dad.
Mom looks fired up about that horse collar.
How about this defensive front for Louisville? Replacing 5 of 7 guys from last year. A lot of inexperience. They're owning the line of scrimmage. Remember, Duke Johnson, this is one of the best playmakers in college football. No space to run hard. He had to make something happen then.
This is an excellent defensive year going without Marcus Smith this year. Duke Johnson breaks into the secondary. Johnson eludes another tackler. Now he's in the Louisville territory and gets all the way down to 45. A terrific run and a good block by the wide receiver, Stacy Coley. Let Johnson pick up 24.
And you're getting a chance to see the new and improved Duke Johnson. We talked earlier about his ankle injury last year against Florida State. Added 10 pounds this offseason so he could take more of a beating. But he still has that speed. And he still has that change of direction and that burst. And this is why he's one of the most dangerous running backs in the country, guys, because he's a threat to hit a home run every time he's got the ball in his hands.
You see the difference in Miami's record with and without Johnson last year. Now, he fractured his ankle against Florida State. that wasn't going to change because he played, but they struggled down the stretch. Now the freshman Joseph Yearby is giving Johnson a break, and he has the football, and he's going to the outside, and the flag's going to fly in here. Charles Gaines makes the stop, but the way that flew in, it looks like a hole.
Holding, number 46 on the offense. 10 yards, previous spot, first down.
Clive Walford had a touchdown. Now he's got a holding penalty.
You know, and I think as we talk about Duke Johnson, it's important that he takes care of himself, but I think it's up to the coaching staff as well. And I think they do have to do a good job. You just saw Joe Yearby with the ball right there, the true freshman. They have to spell him. They have to have different personnel packages. No doubt when they get into tight games, number 8's got to tote the rock. Yeah. But you do have to be smart, I think, as a coaching staff, spelling him a little bit and giving Joe Yearby and Gus Edwards, their sophomores, some added carries. Take the load off his back.
10-yard penalty puts the Canes back in their own territory, looking at a 1st and 20. Quick pass to Cole. Looking for that tunnel, and it closed up after about a 4-yard gain.
And we haven't seen a lot of this. You know, the quick passes. Coley, you got guys on the outside. They got some burn. Now, Coley, when he catches it, he can score anytime he touches it, but running the ball now, if you can get this game going too, and then you'll have the ability to take shots, it really helps Kaya. He keeps things simple for him.
See, you hit it. I think they should take a shot at some point. They've got Philip Dorsett, number 4 outside, that's been clocked at 4.16. You mentioned Coley, Malcolm.
Say that again.
4.16, people at home. And you've got to take a shot at some point. You've got to give him a chance. Everything they've thrown so far has been safe with the exception of the one corner to Clive Walford. Let the true freshman quarterback air it out.
Miami uses its second timeout of the half to try to come up with a little something in 2nd and 16. And will they fight? J.T. Barrett making his second start. Brad Kaya making his first start. He's got a man wide open, and it is Dorsett. Philip Dorsett is run out of bounds just outside the 10-yard line. And we said, let's find the speedster, and Kaya right on cue.
Palmer said, hey, you got to give him a shot. Bottom line, he's one of the fastest receivers in college football. And if you put Lorenzo Malden over top of him, he won't get pressed. But there is this speed. You see how quickly he can get into the vision and cross the field. Guys, he's dangerous. Let the true freshman eat.
But again, I think getting Duke Johnson involved too, where you can play action, you can take shots, is huge. They're not lacking speed on the outside for Miami. You got to use it at some point.
It's Miami.
They also have Terrell Floyd out of the secondary at the moment for Louisville. Duke Johnson doesn't find any running room whatsoever. It'll be 2nd and 10.
So this is an area of the field right now, tie ball game. David just talked about that D-line. How they've been pretty impressive so far in this game with their physicality, really kind of bow up. Remember, last time Miami got down in this area, there was the mistake by Kyle on the lateral that forced a turnover. So Sheldon Rankins, a guy that added some weight this offseason. You got Lorenzo Malden. There's a lot of dudes on this defense. The defensive coordinator, Todd Grantham, can dial up from all over the joint.
Johnson, good move inside. Johnson with a nifty cut. Stopped just outside the 5. James Sample got him on the ground.
And that's something you should like seeing if you're a Miami fan, because Duke Johnson had a tendency in the past to kind of bounce that outside and try to use his electrifying speed. Great job getting up in the hole and getting 4 or 5 instead of losing possible 1 or just getting 1.
Miami's tied the game. They're threatening to take the lead, but they haven't converted a 3rd down. For most Hurricanes fans, now would be a very good time for their first one tonight. 3rd and 3.
This is an area, remember, before. You'll see right here at the top of the screen, Clive Walford. That's the tight end who had 2 big catches in this area early in the game. He's a weapon.
Gus Edwards, the big back, never got started. Knocked down in the backfield. 4th down coming. B.J. DeBose was the first to get it.
Sheldon Rankins.
Number 98, Sheldon Rankins.
That's one thing I think Charlie Strong did an unbelievable job recruiting here at Louisville, was up front. And he got a lot of dudes in that front 7. And David talked about the guys that have departed. They've lost draft picks. They lost a 1st-round pick. Marcus Smith, the defensive end.
Calvin Bryant.
Calvin Bryant, safety. They lost their middle linebacker, Preston Brown, in the 3rd round. But still, they've got, they just reload.
Matt Gudis near money from this distance. 11 out of 12 from inside 40, and he's perfect with his first attempt tonight. So Kaya leads an effective drive that ends in a 24-yard field goal, and the Hurricanes have taken the lead on the road. 1 to play here in the first half. Glad to have you with us on Labor Day night. Reese Davis, Jesse Palmer, David Pollock, Samantha Ponder. Happy you're spending this final day of the first weekend of college football with us. Well, the weekend it's been, too. Some highly ranked teams getting scares. Both of these teams trying to put their mark and establish themselves early in the ACC race. Corbin Lamb on the return for Louisville. Lamb, the fastest Cardinal. And there he goes. Goodbye. 97 yards. Miami drove a long time, more than 90 yards, and got a field goal. Louisville answered in much quicker fashion with Corbin Lamb. Much to the dismay of the Cane fans who made the trip. And I'm sure you guys know where Corbin Lamb hails from. He's a Miami kid scoring against the Canes.
He gets a nice block from Kai de la Cruz, number 12, out in front as well. So getting some atonement for that earlier personal foul, but that's just way too much speed. You got to get some hats on him at some point. I mean, that's right there in the middle of the field.
Yeah, and Louisville special teams has been bad up to this point. Calling a fair catch inside their 5. Their field position has been terrible. Corbin Lamb, they said yesterday, that's their three-point shooter.
Yeah. They said when he comes into the game on offense, you can look for them to try to get him the ball, that something's up for him. And look, he's got the great speed.
Too much.
I might have got tracked down from behind. But you're right, I probably would have gotten through the first level, maybe. It was very well blocked.
That almost was as easy as Todd Gurley's kick return touchdown that we saw against Clemson.
Which one was easier?
Gurley's.
I
think Gurley didn't turn until he got to the 50.
Yeah.
He kind of veered. That one, at least Lamb had to kind of do like a bit of a banana.
Because everybody sees 230 coming that fast at him. They're like, hey, now, let me pick a different direction.
And somebody else gave him. So we'll let you be the judge as to who had the easier run. Gurley had the longer run. He's about 5 yards deep in the end zone.
Straight, get out of my way, straight. 50, now I'm going to edge a little bit, lean away. How's a guy that big run that fast is what I want to know. How's a guy that big return kicks? That's also what I want to know.
I think everybody thought at one time when he had him back deep, when Georgia had him back deep, why are you doing that? You know, last year a little bit banged up. Then he returned that kick, and they're like, yeah, okay, you know what?
Yeah,
put him back deep.
You know what? I would only put him back deep in special situations.
Yeah. Well, now you look at the other backs in that backfield, too, and they're probably like, we're pretty loaded, but that's a pretty good Heisman campaign. Week 1 out the gate. It's a good start for Todd Gurley.
No doubt, 198 yards rushing, career high, 100-yard kickoff return, scored 4 times. So look at Georgia, a little bit different light as the kickoff goes out of the end zone, and the Canes will start on the 25 in the blink of a Corbin Lamb run, down by 4. Monday Night Football kicks off the opening week with a doubleheader starting at 10 after 7 with the Giants taking on the Lions. That'll be followed at 10:20 Eastern Time. Chargers and the Cardinals. Monday Night Football, it's on ESPN and available on the Watch ESPN app as well. Time for the Lions to do a little something.
It's time for the Giants to do a little something on offense. What we saw from the preseason from them. That's interesting to see kind of the attitude on defense here from Louisville on this big drive. Pressure, sit back, physical.
Duke Johnson back into the game. Bounces to the outside and gets bounced to the turf. Deontrez Mount.
That's one thing, you know, going into a new conference and a better conference week in, week out, it is a huge advantage for them to have a defensive line like this. It's obviously big on both sides of the ball. That's one thing I remember when we would talk to Charlie Strong in the past and say, hey, if and when you make that move to the ACC, where do you need to be better? And he said right up front. In the
Bigger
trenches.
dudes.
Yep.
Longer dudes.
But if you're watching tonight, so far, it's impressive seeing Louisville. I mean, this D-line is ACC ready.
Quick pass. Totally avoids one guy, but not the second one. You know, I asked Bob Petrino yesterday about how the talent level here at Louisville compared to what he had during his time at Arkansas. And just talent, maybe not always size necessarily, but talent-wise, he said compared very favorably, and Louisville's probably proven that by the way they played in big games and bowl games under Charlie Song.
So where's Lorenzo Malden right now? If I'm Brad Kai, a true freshman quarterback, I got to find number 94 and identify him, make sure my offensive line knows where their premier pass rusher is. You see him right here at the bottom of the screen.
Show blitz. Here it comes. Kaya stands in, throws it into traffic, and probably lucky it hit the ground.
So if Kaya was watching Malden, then he was looking the wrong direction, because, and that's a good thing Grantham does. He's going to bring pressure, but look, you got Malden down here at the bottom, and if you're paying attention to the best pass rusher, you're looking to the wrong side. Look at the left side of the screen. That's where the blitz coming from, and Malden's dropping back in coverage.
Well, that should have been picked, guys. There's an opportunity for that. They got lucky with that throw.
That's why I said he's lucky it hit the ground. A lot of black jerseys in the midst. Justin Vogel to punt it away. David Cruz standing inside his 30. Vogel gets off a kick that'll drive David Cruz inside the 25. Big hit there. And a flag comes down. As
big illegal hit.
Big hit nonetheless. Deion Bush might have taken the worst of that hit.
And again, I mean,
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 22 on the receiving team, 10 yards, first down.
and look at Louisville's starting position again. I mean, every single time they're backed up easily inside of their 20, but there's the hit.
Yeah, I mean, that's
usually when a guy falls on his stomach, they're going to call a clip.
David, to your point, the best starting field position of the night is, well, I think it's right now, 17-yard line. Hasn't stopped Louisville from scoring one offensive touchdown, and Corbin Lamb started at his 3 and ran a kickoff back. Average starting field position inside their own 10. Hard to make a living. A young quarterback starting that far back in your own end. Gardner feeling pressure. He finds a wide open guy underneath. It's Eli Rogers. Rogers across the 30 and up to the 40 before he's changed out of bounds, and that'll get you out of bad field position.
They've had the most success when they've spread the field and thrown the football in these empty formations, but Gardner here doing a nice job. Just watch him kind of drift over here, buy himself some time, and find Eli Rogers at the last possible second. Again, huge advantage. When you're 6'5", you can still see that throw with the defender in your face and negotiate the throw. Much harder to do at my height, guys. You know, I'm 5'8" with the hair 6'2".
Back to the ground. Nothing going on in the running game. It'll be second and long. Dominic Brown stopped.
And Miami has done a much better job since that second possession up front. Louisville wanted to speed it up a little bit, but they're doing a much better job in the trenches stopping those runs. Brown was getting down early.
A lot of time for Gardner, now a lot of room. He's got pretty good speed, but he wisely gets down. Now, Perriman came in there late. I mean, late in the play. I don't think it was late as in a penalty.
I don't know either.
I think that's okay because he was coming in full bore, and that was a late slide by Gardner. That's why the fans reacted.
And he's 6'5".
Yeah.
So it's harder to
takes a while.
Yeah, it takes a while to get there. He's going to have to learn. Now, listen, Teddy Bridgewater was not a good slider at all. That was probably the worst part of his game. Well, Gardner's going to have to learn to get down early.
The best development for Miami is 3 guys hit him, which means 3 guys were covering the middle of the field, where Louisville's been wearing out the middle of the field with so much success. See if they bring pressure this time.
Here's some man-to-man coverage, it looks like. Oh, they're back up.
Third down and right through the hands. De La Cruz. It was a little hot, a little high. It'll be 4th down and 7. Jamal Carter was there for the Canes. So now, a minute 15 to go. We've got a freshman quarterback. He's had some moments. It's going to a lot of it will depend on field position, I would think. But would you turn him loose here?
Yeah, to be honest, yeah. I mean, with the decisions he's made, I mean, really, there was one errant throw that led to a turnover that was on the lateral. Aside from that,
You might not need him with Cody, though.
Yeah, I'd open it up.
That's a fair point, Dave.
Good punt.
Nice short punt. Coley calls for a fair catch and makes it at the 22. And let's check in and see what Chris Cotter's cooking up for halftime.
All right, Reese, coming up at the half Mayday, and Coach Holtz will join me. Bad news for Texas and David Ash. More concussion-like symptoms, so we'll update you there. Also, Bryce Petty has a little bit of a back issue, although it seems like it might not prevent him from playing this weekend. And speaking of this weekend, some big games, including the end of an era in South Bend. We'll preview that coming up at the half, Reese.
All right, Chris, look forward to hearing from you, Mark, and Lou. And 1 minute, 7 seconds of game time. Miami has it on its own 22. Hurricanes trailing 14-10 here on Labor Day night. The maiden voyage for the Cardinals as an ACC football program. Kaya, little boot, whips it out complete. Gets it to his running back Yearby. There's a flag down the field as we take a look. Duke Johnson been relatively quiet tonight.
Well, that's where this offense starts. You got to give him as many touches as you can. He's electrifying a home run hitter, but where do you want him to go? I mean, Louisville did a great job up front getting penetration, and you don't see many holes for him to get up in there and make yards.
No, and these last couple of plays you're seeing has been the most impressive thing to me from Louisville's defense. They like those outside stretch zone plays, and Louisville's done a good job setting the edge outside. And again, you saw in that last play, too, tremendous speed from Louisville. They're not easy to run away from sideline to sideline. In fact, watching this, I got to think this is going to be one of the faster defenses in the ACC.
I believe they must have decided there was no foul and picked up the flag. And Miami is not in any great hurry. The young quarterback, but Louisville would like to have another shot at it. So on third down, the Cardinals call timeout.
Sheldon Rankins is having a day right now. He's having his way up front.
He's eating.
Yeah, he is.
So 31 seconds to go. Third down and 5. Facing the Hurricanes right now. What do you make of what you've seen so far? First game for Bob Petrino as the coach here at Louisville for a second time, and Miami in a very important season for them.
Well, you know, I think like we said at the start of the game, which quarterback outplays the other one? You got two guys very inexperienced. Certainly both young guys have had their moments. There have also been some critical errors on both sides as well. I've been a little surprised in a good way with Miami's defense. I think they've played well. Louisville, I think I expected to be as dominant as they were up front on that side.
I think that's the takeaway so far is a little bit of defense. And there's been some mistakes on offense, and there's been a special teams play that led to 7. But defensively, some hitting, some tackling. Good play up front by both defensive lines.
So with 31 seconds to go, Brad Kaya, see if he can move the sticks and keep Louisville from getting it back. Cardinals have a couple of timeouts. If Canes don't get it, assuming it's not just an incomplete pass to stop the clock, they would go, and it was almost intercepted, but the clock will stop with 26 seconds to go. Kaya took a hit. Lorenzo Malden was applying the pressure.
And that's a familiar spot for Kaya this first half. He's been hit a lot, but you can't make this mistake either. On 3rd and 5, you see him back in the pocket. Look at the pressure that's coming from Louisville. Great job, but where the ball was thrown, this isn't acceptable. This has to be towards the sidelines, and it's an incompletion or your guy has a chance to catch it with 26 seconds left in the half.
And I think the problem there, David, was he couldn't step up into his throw. He didn't have a chance to step forward.
Punt gets away. David Cruz fair catch at the 26-yard line, so now 19 seconds to go. Let's see how aggressive Petrino is with Will Gardner in his first start. Saturday afternoon, college football from the Pac-12 on ABC. USC and Stanford. I'm waiting a lot of time. You play 9 conference games, you're going to get a doozy in the early part. We'll get it in September as Sarkisian and Shaw square off.
The new look offense for USC. Only ran 101 plays, you know, no biggie week 1.
Although I will say, at least in terms of how effective it was, it looked a lot like the old offense against Fresno State when we saw it in the bowl game.
True.
And ripped them both times, but you're right, a whole lot of plays being run.
Fresno wasn't exactly Stanford's defense either, we've seen.
No. Stanford, it was just against UC Davis, but the Cardinal efficient. Good first outing, too. Gardner's going to take a shot. He's got a man downfield. It is complete into Miami territory. Making the grab is James Quick. 12 seconds remaining. Louisville still has a couple of timeouts. Pick up at 25.
There's an idea right there of the arm strength from Will Gardner. That thing was a laser. And again, over the middle of the field. That's where they've done the damage tonight in the pass game.
So Louisville uses one of those timeouts, even though the clock was going to stop to move the chains. Young quarterback, now make a mistake here and take advantage, because one more completion, another timeout, and you at least have a shot at a field goal.
Yeah, and you see coaches all the time hold timeouts, and there's 13 seconds left or 12 seconds left. Use it. You're probably not going to be able to run 3 plays anyways. So get him composed, get him thought on the sideline.
I think what you have to like if you're Bobby Petrino is this guy right here, John Wallace. He's a really good kicker. Last year was one shy of setting the Louisville record, tying the Louisville record. So this is a guy that has a lot of range, very, very accurate. Feel good if you're Bobby Petrino. And I think if you're Will Gardner right now, a quarterback, you just need to get him in range.
Well, where they need to get the ball, range on this end of the field with the wind at his back, is the 31. He was making them from about 48 in warm-ups. His career long is 45, but there's pretty good breeze going in this direction. So the Cardinals need to pick up about 18 yards to feel like they've given Wallace a good shot. Gardner gets away, and he goes down, and he's sacked. 6 seconds to go. Ufamba Kamalu was the first guy to get there, and Louisville will use its final timeout, and now all of that field goal discussion has been rendered moot, and they'll try, in all likelihood, to throw it just as far as Gardner can.
We talked about how Miami had to generate a pass rush this year. Haven't always seen it tonight, but that was a very opportune time for Ufamba Kamalu to win a one-on-one matchup at the line of scrimmage and make a huge play. Somebody has to be a dominant passer. We were talking about this today, David. Back in the day when Miami was rolling, they had some dudes up there now.
No, they did. And you've seen it. You've seen it a couple times. You've seen Chicolo do it. You've seen Kamala do it. Last year, it was bad. I mean, they were
10th in the ACC in sacks.
Yeah, and it's also, once you do that too, you get to the quarterback and then you get fumbles and create more turnovers, which the last 2 seasons hasn't been a strength of this defense either.
You know, Chicolo is now a senior, and when he arrived with all the hype out of high school, it was thought that perhaps he could be that type of guy, but Chicolo's battled a lot of injuries over his career, pretty healthy right now. Been able to get a little bit of a pass rush. Gardner holding it and looking for some way to unload it, and then he didn't, and Denzel Perryman was there. So not exactly the flurry to the end of the first half that Louisville was hoping for. And Miami hangs in there, and the Canes will get it first to start the second half, trailing 14-10, and Brad Kaya's first start.
One right now, and that's why you've got to get the running game going a little bit with Duke Johnson, make these third downs more manageable. Remember, they were 0 for 11 on third down in the bowl game, not much better today.
So over their last 19 against that Louisville defense, which was stellar last season, has been awfully good this time around too, and the Hurricanes will have an early chance to convert a third down.
Well, that's welcome too. Now you get a third short. You didn't have any of those in the first half either because you didn't rush the ball real well. But how about getting Duke Johnson out in some space too? We've seen him dynamic on screen plays, and he only ran to the perimeter one time, but this is where you got to give it to the big boy, right? Number 7.
Yeah, I've got Gus Edwards in the game right now. 2-back set. Gus got stuffed in the backfield in a short yardage situation earlier. And he broke one tackle from Malden. He got up there close to the first down, but again, he had company in the backfield quickly.
Look at all the bodies near the line of scrimmage. Look at this. You got everybody all in here. You got one corner on the outside covered and a safety rolling to him. I mean, it's a lot of guys you got to block. Bobby Petrino went for it on his own end on the 30-something yard line to see if Al Golden feels like he can do that too.
Guys, there are 2 numbers that keep flashing in the backfield. 98, Sheldon Rankins, and Lorenzo Malden, 94. Miami has not had an answer for either of those 2 big bodies up front all game long.
The play clock is at 0 in this.
5 yards, 4th down.
Back Justin Vogel up 5 more yards. Ty De La Cruz is the deep man to return the punt for Louisville. Vogel punting in his first game for the Hurricanes. Gets it out of there. De La Cruz has it. Excellent coverage by Miami. No return. Ronald Regula there to put him down. These two teams met in the final game of last season in the Russell Athletic Bowl in Orlando. There was a little jawing early, but Teddy Bridgewater pretty much quieted the Hurricanes from that point on. Bridgewater throwing for a career-high 447 yards. And after falling behind 2-0, Louisville ran off 36 in a row. Final score was 36-9. Charlie Strong's last game as the Cardinal head coach. Hurricanes much more competitive tonight. Will Gardner back at the helm. Wanted to take a shot, getting a lot of pressure, and the football's loose on the ground. I'm not sure Miami realizes it, and another guy came in and picked it up. Raphael Kirby grabbed it. I think that was Thurston Armbrister who knocked it free and then didn't realize it was sitting right behind his rear end. Had a teammate come pick it up, and what a great opportunity for Miami to take the lead, forcing the turnover.
Ball security's been the biggest issue for Will Gardner. You heard Bobby Petrino tell Sam at halftime, he's got to understand to put the football onto his chest and understand when the play's dead. He's just flopping it around like a loaf of bread in his right hand. Miami players are swatting at it. That's the second time he's been sacked and lost possession of the football. Just simply cannot happen.
Armbrister, that ball was right behind him. Kirby was all over it and saw glory, but Gardner was hanging on for dear life.
Kirby wanted it. He just couldn't get to it.
So the turnover is a huge one. Miami back in the red zone. Duke Johnson, he's knocked down in the backfield. Just as Jesse said, it's Malden in the backfield.
Yeah, and again, where do you want Duke Johnson to go? I mean, there's no space. They're bringing everybody into the box, and we've talked about Rankin and Malden, all those guys up in there dominating the line of scrimmage.
He's a really good fit at outside linebacker, isn't he? For a guy that
especially with Todd Grantham. He does a great job. Think about Jarvis Jones and Floyd.
Justin Houston.
He features those guys well.
During Grantham's time at Georgia as a defensive coordinator. And the Louisville defense has been put in a tough spot right here, and they're asking the crowd to get behind them. Johnson looking for the edge. 3rd and goal coming. Keith Kelsey on the stop.
Sorry, Reese. Good push up front, but again, watch the speed. Watch how quickly these linebackers for Louisville get over to the outside and get that body on the ground. That's Keith Kelsey, Jr. I played with his dad. He's a linebacker at Florida.
Oh,
Junior, 35. Tell you what. He looks good. He just looks just like his dad, being able to run sideline to sideline, make some of these plays.
You cannot get a turnover at this spot in the field and come away with a field goal. Must turn this into a touchdown. So a little trickeration. Dorsett looks as if he wants to throw it. He's not going to, and it's 4th and goal. And the Louisville defense with a big-time answer. What do you think of running a trick play there?
Well, I like the idea of getting speed and getting Philip Dorsett, an impact player, with the football in his hand. It was a pass-run option. But speed kills, and speed can counter speed. Watch this. We're trying to outflank Louisville's defense. They get number 91 outside, but there's Sample. JUCO transfer, originally played at Washington. There's a lot of guys that can run on this Louisville D.
Good is trying to bring it to within 1, so Miami does get the field goal, but after forcing a sack and fumble and getting the ball at goal-to-go territory, having to settle for 3 is a little bit of a bitter pill to swallow for the Hurricanes. It was tremendous defensive play to allow the ball to be stripped away. Just wagging it around with one hand. He saved 4 points by hanging on to Raphael Kirby's leg. Look at this. Just kept holding on. Finally got him on the ground, and the Louisville defense forced a field goal attempt. He doesn't make that stop. It's a touchdown.
That's why I love you, Reese Davis.
Because I'm a glass half full kind of guy?
Half full kind of guy, yeah.
I'm just saying that he made chicken salad out of something else.
And a tackle. Is that another stat we can give him? Game of inches, Reese Davis, David Pollock. Sam Potter, game of inches.
Well, I just think Brown would have tackled him anyways, but that's not the point.
Why do you always want to take a trip? You always want to take a trip to negative town.
Well, speaking of, why does Miami run the ball 6 straight times and not try to throw it a little bit?
It's a good question for the next time they get it. 14-13, Louisville with the lead. Gardner coming back out. We've got more coverage of the FIBA Basketball World Cup on ESPN2. United States taking on New Zealand. And it's tomorrow morning, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. You also see it on the Watch ESPN app if the boss won't let you skip work. First and 10, Louisville to the ground with Dominique Brown.
And they need to do more of this. You saw them early. Brown was having a lot of success, especially when they had that long touchdown drive. They stayed balanced. They came out with, right there, they had 2 tight ends and a fullback in the game. You got a big tailback you got to use, especially when your quarterback keeps making some bad decisions, not holding on to the football.
Not protecting the football. Calls to mind the words of my weekend partner, Lou Holtz, who used to tell players, you dropped it and you didn't pick it up, and you let them get it. Well, he's done that a couple of times tonight. This time he's right on target, a short completion. He's tied in Gerald Christian. And the third down is coming up.
And in fairness, too, guys, let's give Miami some props on defense also. We talked about how much they've struggled the last 3 years. Mark D'Onofrio's group, they've only given up 7 points in this game. Remember, Louisville scored in the kick return touchdown. So, this is a much improved looking unit from what we've seen the last several years also. And they've been able to keep, obviously come up with big turnovers at opportune moments.
Which is another thing that he talked about had to improve. Yeah. We had their game last year. Remember the year before they only had 15 turnovers. Last year they cranked it up a little bit. But that's part of that's getting more aggressive. And you've seen them do it.
Well, how about right here? How about some pressure right here?
Umbrister showed it. He was spying and waiting on Gardner, and Gardner throws it. What a good, strong catch with the hands. Michael Lee Harris, who had a big drop in the first half, held on to that one, even though Deion Bush put a hit on it.
And I don't think Will Gardner gave him a choice. I mean, this would have been in his throat or his face mask if he didn't catch that with his hands. That was an absolute bullet. But nice, strong hands by Michael Lee Harris.
Yeah, he's had multiple knee injuries over his career. Good job by Harris. A little running room for Brown as he gets up across the 50-yard line. Tough run for the senior from Cincinnati.
Running the ball has always been a staple in Bobby Petrino's offenses. You go back to when he was a head coach here, 3 of the 4 years, he had 3 different running backs go over for 75 or more carries in a season. We talked at the top of the show, Michael Dyer, you'll remember him, as the MVP of the 2010 national title game. He's hurt. They need to get him back because they're going to need a committee approach, I think, this year when it comes to running the football, help out Dominic Brown.
Petrino said yesterday that prior to that quad bruise, that Dyer was starting to look like the old Michael Dyer that Petrino had seen since his days in high school and certainly during the time that Dyer was at Auburn. Not only Michael Dyer out, but Devontae Parker, their best wide receiver, is going to miss 6 to 8 weeks. He has a broken bone in his left foot. And certainly, he was a weapon. He caught a touchdown pass in the bowl game last year against Miami.
Changes the game. A lot of draft experts think he might be the first receiver taken. Big receiver, big wingspan, speed. He ate Miami up alive last year.
A third down call in the backfield. They're not going to get close. You know who, Denzel Perryman. If you clicked on the YouTube helmet cam deals, too bad he didn't have a helmet cam on right there. You'd see a collision.
It looked a lot like you saw the collision in the spring game, but unbalanced again by Louisville on the left side of the line. But watch Seaball. Look at him get skinny, getting a crack. A lot of linebackers don't do that. Take that first space, get through there, and come with some bad intentions.
And the speed to get there, too. Yeah. I mean, he gets there in a hurry. Explosive player.
You had plenty of guys on that side to block the number of guys on Miami's side. But when you do that and make a great play, there's nothing you can do about it.
Perriman has 7 tackles, 3 tackles for loss.
Fumble.
Yep.
Right.
The type of game he promised when he said he didn't plan to go 0-2 against Louisville. Coley fakes the fair catch and very nearly a perfect punt, but it rolls into the end zone for a touchback. Denzel Perryman just made a big stop in the backfield. We told you about him wearing a helmet.
Yeah. Let's speed the game up, but if you're sending more guys, you've got less guys in the back end, and with guys like Philip Dorsett and Stacy Coley and Duke Johnson out there, you don't want to risk one-on-one situations and potentially give up explosive plays.
Look at the box again.
Stacked.
Pretty much daring them to take shots. Duke Johnson knocked down for a huge loss. James Burgess, who's had a terrific night, making the stop.
I'm Duke Johnson. I'm just frustrated. You know, he just needs a little crease, and he can he can make that big play. There just hasn't been any. I try to get in the ball on a screen or something else. Where are you going to go? You don't need a helmet cam to see that.
You see, but I mean, you got Daniel Isadora, who is getting a hat on him. He just can't execute the block. I'd say that
Mom's frustrated too.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lack of execution going on right now. It's not just numbers in the box for Louisville. It's also lack of execution up front on this offensive line for Miami.
3rd and 15. Oh, the freshman put the ball in harm's way. Charles Gaines was on the coverage, and Miami will have to punt. Gaines is a guy who's never shy about talking. In fact, he said before the bowl game, he went through the Miami coaches line asking him why they didn't recruit him. He's from Miami. He's got a little bit to crow about after that one. 6th time tonight, Miami's gone 3 and out. Vogel to punt. Wobbly kick. Fair catch is made just short of the 50 by De La Cruz. So Louisville has the ball and a 1-point lead, and Miami can't get the Duke going. Burgess right in his grill. The Hurricanes is down by 1. For 9 tonight. As a result, Louisville has the ball back, its best field position, starting on its own 49. Will Gardner gives it to Dominique Brown. Miami defense is there after a gain of about 1. And back to Brad Kaya winning this job.
I'm really impressed he won it in the first place. True freshman, doesn't come in the spring, got here in the summer. So he only had 13 weeks to understand a pro-style offense with all these different concepts in the run game, the pass game, the fronts, the coverages, protections. And he beat out a guy in Jake Heaps who started 25 games. It's remarkable.
Will Gardner's pass is complete. He's making his first start of the night. A tremendous effort to pick up the first down. Now, to wrap up, if you're just joining us, how Kaya came to be the quarterback. Ryan Williams was slated to be the starter, was injured in the spring. Kevin Olson's been around, suspended for a violation of the team rules. And then Kaya beat out Jake Heaps, and Jesse mentioned the games that Heaps started. He started those games at BYU, where he started his career, and Kansas, where he played last year. He's a graduate transfer. Kansas changed its offense, and he wanted to play in a pro-style system. James Quipp has it down close to the 30-yard line.
I think Miami needs to continue to challenge Louisville's receiver on the outside. Again, Devontae Parker's not out there. That last completion, there was at least a 10-yard cushion from Tracy Howard at cornerback. You got to get up in these guys' face, make them prove to you that they can beat you deep downfield, because we haven't seen that happen in this game yet.
2nd and short, might be time to take a shot at the end zone. Come back and run it on 3rd down. What say you, Potluck? Throwing it deep?
I like it.
I love the way you guys think.
Nope. They do pick up the first down. Some good hard running by Dominique Brown. Kamala, who ended up making the stop. After breaking a tackle in the backfield, Petrino's team moves the chains.
It's been a lot harder to run the football since that second drive. Miami's done a great job up front. They've adjusted and done well. Stunting guys, moving guys, blitzing.
Louisville only one offensive touchdown tonight, trying to get another good throw from Gardner and another completion, again to his tight end, Gerald Christian.
A lot of the space has been over the middle of the field that we've kept saying, and Gerald Christian, I think, does a very good job transitioning in and out of routes. We talked about how smooth he is. You're just going to see him, number 18 at the top, just running an out route. And against Denzel Perryman, who's a much smaller linebacker, he's had issues one-on-one when he's been covering the bigger tight end. He's a run stuffer. We've seen that tonight. He hasn't done so well in space cover.
From the 15, Cards back to the ground. Big hole! Into the end zone goes Dominique Brown. A good job by the Louisville offensive line, and Brown takes it to final 15. That side of the line has opened it up. Good job by John Miller, number 70. Christian got a good block after making the big catch.
I think that was on Denzel Perriman, too. Climbed up in the second level, showing you he's not just a good pass catcher, he can be physical in the run game.
Extra point coming, and it's true, and Louisville's lead is 8 with 3:34 to go here in the third quarter. First night as a member of the ACC in football, and Louisville trying to get a win, and Dominique Brown rumbling easily into the end zone. Put the Cards up. Going to try to get his team back on the field, and I mean, the best thing for them is to avoid third down situations altogether, but Miami has not been able to convert any of them so far tonight. John Wallace getting set to kick it away. Coley driven to the back of the end zone. It'll come out to the 25-yard line, and that's where Kaya and the Canes will start their third down issues.
Yeah, and you've seen it. You've seen it in short yard situations when they've tried to run the ball. The line of scrimmage has been owned. You've seen it in long situations when they've tried to pass. They haven't been successful. How about a reverse? Run, pass, reverse. Nothing's worked so far. It's been a struggle for their offensive line and their quarterback.
I like that this Louisville defense, guys, has not given up a lot of explosive plays. And they're forcing a true freshman quarterback on the road to lead his team 10, 12, 14 plays to put points on the board. Louisville's been great in the red zone when they've been on a short field and sudden change. Forced a turnover, gave up a field goal. Todd Grantham's calling a very good game tonight.
Grantham will move to Louisville from Georgia, where he coordinated the defense. And Mark Ritt. Kaya look downfield and dumps it off to Duke Johnson. A short tackling from Burgess.
And they'll give them that all day. You know, keep the football in front. We've seen tremendous team speed on defense. You take a look at the three-headed monster for Miami and Philip Dorsett, Clive Walford, and Stacy Coley. Walford had 2 catches back-to-back, but with the exception of Dorsett's deep crossing route, really not a lot going in the deep passing game for Miami.
Dorsett watching now, and there's Coley. Kaya, nobody in particular. Malden was applying the heat.
And that's horrible protection again. And throw in another guy, too. You did the three-headed monster receiver, but Duke Johnson's another guy. Yeah. It's the first time they threw it out of the backfield to him, but hadn't had any success rushing either.
So the Canes going to try it again on third down. Dating back to the bowl game against Louisville. 0 for their last 20. Blackout crowds alive, and Miami's been pretty much blacked out on third down. Pressure coming. Walford makes a great catch in the first third down conversion of the night. That big Clive Walford, who has a touchdown.
Somebody just had to make a play. They did a nice job getting the blitz picked up, giving Kaya time to step into the throw. He's a really good weapon, Walford is. Mismatch on smaller defensive backs like safety Gerard Hallman right there. He's a guy they need to start looking for more often.
1 for 10 on third down now. It's 10%. A little tip for you. That's not going to get it done. Kaya cutting underneath, and it's intercepted by Sample. The freshman just flat underthrew it, and Sample went and got it, and another turnover for the Canes.
Todd Grantham fired up. His defense has come up big in big moments. Huge turnover, and you nailed it on the head. This is an open receiver. If he leads him down the field, puts more air under it, like the first throw he had to Clive Walford. But, David, there's another example of team speed on defense. Yeah, I mean, Sample able to close the gap.
Yeah, but it was a horrible throw. Yeah. I mean, there was 2 guys open. You could have thrown to Dorsett closer than that, too, and got the first down. That's just a bad job. He tried to get his feet squared up and make a play, but it's just a terrible throw.
And if he puts that thing on Dobar, Dobar might still be running. Speaking of still running, James Quick is for Louisville. And the Cardinals back inside the 40.
And back-to-back possessions where you start at midfield. Remember, Louisville was backed up the whole first half. Limits what you can do. Now they got the offense rolling with good field position. Grantham should be happy, too, for causing the turnovers.
Gardner's had a couple of miscues putting the ball on the ground when pressured, but 16 of 23, efficient passing the ball. Short gain on first down for Brown.
I like it. Yeah, I know it's not a lot of yards, but I'm staying committed to the running game if I'm Bobby Petrino and Louisville, just leaning on this defensive front seven, starting to get your bigger bodies up front. You just got the ball back very quickly in this defense. Now you're starting to see some guys with their hands on their hips. Getting a little bit tired. This offensive line has a chance to take this game over here in the second half.
Gardner starting to feel a little rhythm. Close to field goal range. De La Cruz on the grab, so third down coming up for Gardner. Pretty balanced in terms of play selection. Run it a little bit more than they've thrown it, but they have not necessarily run effectively. Kaya working on the sidelines, hoping he's going to get another chance while it's still a one-possession game. This is a big play for the Miami defense.
Got to be thinking middle of the field here if you're Miami on D.
Keep it on the ground. Brown got some room. Thought for a second Dominique wasn't going to put his foot in the ground and get upfield soon enough, but he did. Very patient. James Quick, the receiver, got a good block out there, and it's a first down for the Cards.
That's 240 pounds that you got to consistently tackle over and over and over. A big offensive line leaning on you. From Louisville, I'm liking this.
And, you know, that's a factor wearing you down as well.
Yeah.
Like you said, right? Not just the offensive line, but a big back like Brown.
Well, that's one of the factors that Al Golden said contributed to the defensive struggles last year. It's what we've talked about on offense, a failure to stay on the field very long. Perhaps we're seeing signs of that right now as Brown burst into the Hurricanes secondary on what is probably the final play of the third quarter. Dominique Brown, who had the touchdown run, followed Ryan Mack, and the Cardinals are threatening again. This is ESPN's College Football Primetime, sponsored by Capital One as part of Dick's Sporting Goods Kickoff Week. The final game of the first weekend, Cardinals up by 8 and threatening as we go to the fourth. They'd all dressed in black and looking to see if their Cardinals can go up by 2 scores, 21-13 as we start the fourth quarter. Louisville with a 1st and 10 from the 11-yard line of Miami. Will Gardner's hit all 6 of his passes in the second half. Back to the ground. Dominique Brown picks up 1. He's over 100 yards tonight.
I wouldn't stop if I were Louisville. I would just keep grinding it out. Put those big guys up front and lean on them. You've seen him gash him a couple times now. But now in the fourth quarter where these games are won and lost, oftentimes up front in the line of scrimmage, let this offensive line take over.
It's the 10-yard line. Wonder if David brought up a little while ago that Miami defense is getting a little bit gassed. I think the offensive line.
Ball start. Number 53 on the offense. 5 yards, second down.
Jake Smith, All-American Conference first-team performer last year when Louisville played in the AAC. Prior to their move, a little quick to pull that time.
It's a big break for Miami. Now you got them backed up. I think if they get a touchdown here, the ball game's over. Maybe because it's still a one-possession game right now. You want them to a field goal, you got a chance. Now your offense has been pretty bad so far.
You know, the offense has been non-existent largely in this half of Miami. Gardner just throws it away down the sideline, and again, he was getting heat from Olsen Pierre, but he's fumbled a couple of times tonight, and that wasn't exactly taking care of the football either.
You are going to give Bobby Petrino a heart attack on the sidelines right here. I mean, at this point in juncture in the game, David just told you the situation. If you score some points, you've got to be smart and be careful. Understand, of course you don't want to take a sack. You got to be able to throw that football away early, live to play another down. You just can't start recklessly heaving footballs down into the end zone. I mean, that could have been disastrous for Louisville.
So you're gonna get a draw here then?
Well, they're going to let him throw it, but it's going to be safe. Tunnel, bobbled, and
Save.
Yeah. Eli Rogers had it, and then he didn't, and then he did again, and he didn't, and finally he got it.
But you're right, it is safe. A draw or a screen. Don't throw the ball far down the field so you don't have a chance to turn it over. And the way your defense is played, I don't think you're angry. You're fine. You probably don't think they could score once, more or less twice.
And John Wallace can make this a two-possession game if he can knock it through from 28. For his career inside the 40, he's 32 of 35. So historically, this has been money. And it is again. Two-possession game. Petrino's return, he has an 11-point lead and 13-11 to go. See how much the freshman has to say about changing this down the gut of the game for Miami. Kaya picked off last time. He'll try to get something going when you come back for Al Gold. To come back against Wisconsin. Todd Gurley vaulted right to the top of the Heisman discussion with his brilliant performance against Clemson, and
He's still running.
What about the guy underneath him?
Kenny
Which one?
Hill. 511 yards.
Brent called that game, didn't he?
He did, with a hump.
Yes, he was on that call. Casey Coley. It's out to the 29-yard line. Coley with a valiant effort. Almost making that a big return. Jameis Winston threw a couple interceptions, but boy, he had a couple of really important runs.
I didn't know he could run like this. Elbutt. He never showed that last year.
You did know Gurley could run like this, I
Who wants to take the Snickers challenge in the open field? Come on. It's like tackling a tree stump.
I think perhaps no one, well, I'm not going to say no one in Orange wanted to. They just weren't in excellent position to be able to do so. Now a little running room for Duke Johnson. That's been a rarity tonight. Close to the 40-yard line. That'll be enough for a first down, pickup of 11.
And here's the thing, 9-point game, and I know Brad Kai he's struggled a little bit here lately at quarterback. 11-point game, Canadian math. With all these playmakers on the field, all the speed Miami has, I mean, these guys can break it open at any snap.
Sometimes the math can be a little bit confusing.
Concussions I've had.
Numbers a little bit smaller than you anticipated.
Percentages.
Kaya taking his time, flips it out to Dorsett, and he comes down out of bounds. It's incomplete.
And Kaya looking at back in the pocket, even though nobody was close to him that time. Those feet were pitter-pattering. He's been hit so much. He's got to stay in there. He's got to stay relaxed. He's got to be able to take some shots to these big play receivers.
Well, and David, I would say that's the biggest difference to me watching this offense this year in this game versus what we saw last year when Stephen Morris was a quarterback. How many times did they chunk it downfield?
A lot.
All
yeah,
the
that
time.
was his game.
I mean, that was his deal. And so, you know, it certainly has, it's condensed the playbook, and James Coley, the offensive coordinator, hasn't been as willing to take shots with his young true freshman quarterback.
Duke to the ground, got an edge. Duke Johnson into Louisville territory, where he's knocked out of bounds and a big pickup. They'll mark him out right about the 39, pick up at 21.
There's a tremendous surge by the right side of Miami's offensive line. It's one of the few times we've seen them actually be able to seal the edge on the right side. Look, Clive Walford get a block and get his backer almost turn, giving Duke Johnson just enough time to get outside and show off that speed.
It's almost like Louisville defense just relaxed a little bit, didn't it?
And Johnson, all of a sudden, who's been pretty quiet, is getting close to having a 100-yard night. Get Kai on the move in the pocket. He's going to throw back, and he's got a man wide open on the wheel, and it is Johnson out of the backfield, and Miami set up inside the 5. But there is a flag on the play. It's sitting back at the 36-yard line.
Ineligible downfield. Number 63 on the offense. 5 yards, first down.
I'm going to need to see this because they never, ever call this against, the zone read teams. Right?
They don't call it against the multi-zone read teams that are called run pass.
We can't.
You can't be more than 3 yards down
he's
field
a
while the quarterback has the football.
It's not 3 yards in today's football. It's like 6.
So you're saying he was way past that?
It was,
he was.
I'm saying in football, they're letting you get away with 3 every single play.
that negated a 36-yard gain, and to be fair to the officials, it was hard to tell from that angle, but when you saw the headgear of Danny Isidore, it didn't look like he was well downfield. Duke Johnson catching his breath after running that wheel route. Gus Edwards into the lineup. Let's take another look at that play that was just negated.
So the line of scrimmage is right about here. We'll take a look. 63 is going to be the guard right there. He's running down the side. He's about 2 yards behind it right now. Now he takes off upfield. Now he's at the line of scrimmage. That's 1, 2.
Where are you going, Big Fella?
Ooh, it's close.
But what's the point?
That's 4. Yeah, that's,
you got to know better.
Yeah, that's just a lack of concentration. And Kaya, they're concentrating on him, and down he goes. DeAndres Mount.
When we talk about blitzing the young freshman, crunch time, you've seen Todd Grantham's defenses in the past with the blitz coming off the edge. And pressure from the inside, too.
It's good to have a guy that can complement Lorenzo Malden on the other side, right? A guy that can get after the quarterback. And Mount, who's 6'5", 240 pounds, used to play defensive end with his hand on the ground. There's athletes all over the field. So now we've got 3rd and California.
And it's been a rough series for Danny Isidora, who was back there trying to keep the rush off of Kaya unsuccessfully. Kaya throws underneath. That's Edwards. Edwards, tough running, still on his feet. Gets it down to 32, 33-yard line, so that at least...
Yep, let you go for it.
Yeah, the wind's in favor of that direction.
Or maybe take a kick, and you can make it a one-possession game. See, I got my math right there, guys? Like that?
You got to go for it. Great, but that was great second effort to give you a chance to be able to go for this.
Yeah, no doubt. And a smart decision by Kaya, too.
Yeah,
checking the football down, nothing open downfield again.
All right. There was nobody within 20 yards of the guy either. So
you got Coley, Dorsett at the bottom of the screen.
4th and 4. Big play for the freshman. Fires it underneath, and it's knocked away. Terrell Floyd, who was shaken up earlier tonight on the coverage, and the Louisville defense stands up as we check in with Samantha. We'll check in with Samantha Ponder right after the break. Team for the Louisville football program, 9 minutes and 30 seconds away from it being a winning one in the re-debut, if you will. Bob Petrino in his second stint as the Cardinals head coach. His team up by 11, just came up with a 4th down stop against Miami to get the ball back with an 11-point lead. Will Gardner making his first start, succeeding Teddy Bridgewater. Dominic Brown picks up about 1. And let's take a look at that 4th down play that the Hurricanes failed to convert.
Well, right off the top, you're going to see Dorsett here, number 4, wide open in the flat. But anyways, Kaya comes back and tries to work to Coley, and there's a miscommunication on the route with Coley. You see here, Dorsett. He had him wide open, and if he throws it to him, I think he scores.
Yeah, Louisville completely busted.
I mean, there was nobody.
No, that was man coverage. Yeah. Crossing route. They both went with the guy.
With the other guy. There was nobody with Dorsett.
And listen, Coley stopped on the route too.
Yeah,
he paused just for a second over the middle of the field. He needs to keep running. He knows it's man coverage. They're trailing him. He's got to get going.
Gardner out in the flat. And the complete to Lamar Atkins, his first catch. Samantha, what do you got?
Yeah, Reese, this Miami defense was happy to get some time to rest after they came off the field. Obviously not happy to get no points on the board, but they were absolutely exhausted coming off the field. Got ice-cold towels, had trainers working with them. Even Denzel Perryman, who was the most vocal guy all game, absolutely silent on the sideline. They were happy to get a little bit of rest. Let's see if they can hold here.
Now, Sam Perryman has left it all out there. He's played a terrific game tonight. Really, the Miami defense as a whole has played pretty well. Been put in some very difficult situations. See if they can muster up a stop and give their offense another chance down a couple of possessions. Dominique Brown plowing forward, noses the football into Hurricane territory.
And you can tell You tell they definitely put an emphasis on turnovers. You see Miami, they're coming in there trying to strip the ball out, all of them. Perriman looks like he's gassed.
Yeah. The senior from Coral Gables. First team All-ACC performer last year.
And I like what Bobby Petrino's doing here with the tempo, slowing it way down, bleeding the game clock and the play clock, letting it run all the way down, trying to suffocate Miami here. That defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
Delay of game on the offense. 5 yards, second down.
Wet it down all right, Jesse.
So a lot of coaching moments for Will Gardner here in his first start, guys. And he's done some really good things. He's made some beautiful throws, made some good decisions. Regardless of how this game turns out, when they put the film on, he's going to be learning from ball security issues to clock management issues. There's a lot of different things you can take away from this first start. A lot of good and bad, but I would argue more good.
Back to the ground, bouncing into the outside. Brown, he'll have enough for the first down. He's going to let Kirby know about it a little bit.
But you got to stay in bounds. You got to stay in bounds at this point. You're Dominic Brown. You understand. You're old enough. You're a senior. Trying to bleed the clock. Don't go out of bounds. Bounces it outside, and that's great vision. But right here, cut it back in. Great hit. You got Kirby on the ground, but thinking about clock.
One thing about
Yeah, just stopped momentarily, though, to move the chains. And at this point in the game, they're winding it once it was ready for play.
But the one thing about Miami's defense just happened right there, too, with McCord on the outside. You fire off, you stick your guy, and then you start peeking inside to try to go make a play, and you lose contain. You got these guys, they have to be more disciplined along the front. Stay in your gap. That works.
Yep, that's discipline from Olsen Pierre. Dominic Brown stop. ESPN College Football Primetime presented by Hampton Hotels, coming up Saturday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. The Horseshoe, Urban Meyer and the Buckeyes, who had a tough one opening day against Navy, welcoming in Frank Beamer and Virginia Tech. Beamer just got a contract extension. Texas Tech transfer Michael Brewer playing quarterback for the Hokies. No, Bud Foster will have that defense dialed up and ready for J.T. Barrett, the quarterback who's replacing Braxton Miller after his unfortunate injury that will keep him out for this entire season. 2nd and 13. Dominique Brown crashes down to the 40.
Brings up an interesting point about the ACC Coastal this year, guys, and how wide open that is. A lot of people picked Miami to win that division. Remember, they've never played for the ACC championship since they joined the conference in 2005.
They did forfeit one, too.
Yeah,
Right,
they would have gotten there
2012
2
because
years
of
ago.
sanctions they have. But, you know, I really think the excuses are over now, though, because the sanctions are gone. And they've had 4 of the best 5 recruiting classes in the Coastal Division. Sorry, they've had the best recruiting class for the last 5 years inside the Coastal. So there's a lot of talent on this team. Quarterback question marks. Whether the defense can stay improved, I think will be big keys for whether or not they can get to the title game.
And 3rd and 7. Gardner gets it to Christian, is tied in. He stays in bounds. He'll stop it to move the chains to the first down. But the most important thing is that Louisville maintains possession, and they'll get to run some more clock.
And still mixing it up. Look at Christian acting like he's blocking it, and they're going to run it for the 3rd or 4th time in a row, and then finishing it, too, with a little bit of attitude. Is that Crawford on top?
That was Dallas Crawford.
We saw him last year toting that rock.
I was going to say, when we last saw Dallas, it was at the North Carolina game. He went for over 100 yards, had the game-winning touchdown. He scored 12 touchdowns as a running back last year. Met with Al Golden and decided that be of more use as a defensive back. And they say he's really emerged as a leader on that defense.
He's got ball skills, too. I mean, he's kind of got all the things. He's physical. He's got all the things you look for. And again, I mean, for a secondary that this coaching staff needs to make more plays this season, with all the guys they have coming back outside, it certainly helps having an influence like Dallas Crawford.
The guy's the holder on place kicks, too. Do a little bit of everything.
You just do your homework, Chris Davis.
Inside 4 minutes to play. Miami desperately needing a stop. L.J. Scott, freshman running back. Not much there. And the Hurricanes are going to use a timeout to try to...
Timeout. Miami.
conserve as much time as they can since they need the ball twice. It would be most beneficial if they could at worst hold Louisville to a field goal here. At least the ones in orange, maybe not the guy painted black, but guys in orange hoping that maybe there'll be another field goal attempt here rather than a touchdown, because it's a dire situation for the Hurricanes in any light, but a touchdown would turn out the lights. 3rd and 7 here. Just barely in field goal range. Back to the ground and close to the first down, and I think Dominic Brown's going to be stopped just short. Brown has turned in the 3rd 100-yard rushing game of his career. Now he's up to 133 yards on 30 carries.
They're going to go.
4th down, just keep it.
Yeah, why not?
Put it away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the way the Miami offense is played,
yeah,
you can just eliminate any doubt if you can convert here, and if you don't, they're 80 yards away and they need it twice anyway.
I just feel a lot better if I was up 14, though.
So you'd kick it?
Why not? If you miss it, you're still right there anyways. They still got to go 80. They still got to score twice.
Unbalanced to the left. Miami didn't get that lined up right earlier tonight. Brown will get the first down, and the clock will continue to roll. Inside 3 minutes to go as Petrino's team picks up the first down.
And Brown's a load, man.
Yeah.
And he's got some good vision, too. He makes some good cuts. And then he squares his shoulders.
He's a one-cut runner. Like when he sees it, he hits it. It's funny, you know, if I evaluate this, everyone's picked Florida State to win the ACC. And if you said to me, is Louisville ready to take on a Florida State here, a game that we're going to call on a Thursday night? I would say defensively, I really like where Louisville is. They can rush the passer. They've got tremendous speed. I like that matchup. I'm curious to see how Will Gardner continues to evolve as the season goes on, to find out if they really have a shot at beating Florida State, the national champion.
And remember, they are in the Seminoles division along with Clemson. So the Coastal Division historically has been, although Virginia Tech dominated it early, it's been a little bit more unsettled, at least in terms of power teams in recent years. So,
and you want to make Will Gardner better? Why don't you bring back one of the best receivers in college football, too? I mean, that makes things easy on the outside, creates more space in the running game.
Him and P.J. Williams would be a great matchup. Devontae Parker versus that guy, that'll be fun to watch.
It would be right around the projected time that Parker would be ready to go by the time the Seminoles play the Cardinals. That's a long way down the road. Dominic Brown gets down to about the 12-yard line as we're inside 2.5 minutes to go.
Now, the interesting thing when you look at the schedule, too, and a lot of the key games, the timing, I think, for Louisville sets up really well. Key games against Clemson, Florida State, at Boston College, Notre Dame. They get more than a week to prepare for all of those games. And, of course, a big one against Kentucky, a rival game at the end. But it does set up pretty well, I think, for them in their first year in the ACC. Give Bobby Petrino that extra time.
Well, Petrino has never lost a season opening game. And many of those wins have been against Kentucky, both here at Louisville and last year at Western Kentucky. And this year against college football, it's been shaky one at times for the Miami quarterback. Louisville trying to put it away. Will Gardner throwing into the end zone, and it's a touchdown for the Cardinals. Gerald Christian. Gerald Christian said he looked forward to this Petrino offense targeting tight ends. He's caught 6 balls tonight, and Denzel Perryman is down. And from the looks of that, we hope that's just a cramp. That's what it looks like.
There's a tremendous block here by Dominic Brown. You're going to see him just get a great job here outside. He's thrown the rock 33 times today. That is textbook cutting linebacker Raphael Kirby, giving Will Gardner an open lane and a clear window to make that easy touchdown throw to Gerald Christian.
And Gardner's all smiles, so too is Christian. Extra point awaiting as the Miami training staff attends to Denzel Perryman, who has been an absolute warrior for the Hurricanes tonight. He's made 12 tackles, 11 of them solo, 3 tackles for loss. He had a sack. Denzel Perryman is giving it everything he has, but it's still going to be back-to-back losses to Louisville for the U. Well, Gardner just threw that touchdown pass. They've ridden Dominic Brown tonight.
And why not? Big physical offensive line, returning a bunch of guys up there. 240 pounds coming down north-south. The ability also on Bobby Petrino's offense to go multiple, spread you out, give you different looks. But when you needed it late in this ball game, you handed it to the big fella, and he played dividends.
But I don't think he can do that week in, week out, guys. 33 carries is a lot.
Well, Michael Dyer's banged up.
He needs to come back. And you got to get L.J. Scott.
He's a big physical cat, too, now.
You do. And L.J. Scott, the true freshman, is a guy that they expect to develop, and they've got high hopes for as well. But this guy, no doubt about it, he's been a war daddy today. And again, we talk about these Bobby Petrino offenses, and everyone wants to talk about them throwing the football and the efficient quarterbacks he's coached throughout his tenure in college football. But really, here and anywhere he's been in college, it starts and ends with running the ball. Dominic Brown's done a fantastic job tonight.
Those 33 carries are career high. So, too, are the 143 yards he's put down. And John Wallace boot through the extra point and make it 31-13. So there are a lot of different angles to examine this game from. A successful ACC debut for Louisville. Miami, not a successful debut for Brad Kaya. They have a veteran quarterback in Jake Heath sitting over there. They're hoping to get Ryan Williams back. When you look at Miami from their standpoint, we talked a little bit about Louisville becoming a contender in the conference. What have you seen from Miami, and what type of expectations can you have for the Canes?
I know Miami has explosive playmakers on the outside. They've got weapons. I need to see improved play from the offensive line, and for me, offensively, that's the biggest question. It's the quarterback position, and what's going to happen with Brad Kaya over the next few weeks. This could be an audition. Got to find out when Ryan Williams comes back, if and when he's healthy to go. I think that position in particular, because the defense is better than I think a lot of people thought they would be.
Well, they gave up 31, but it didn't feel like it.
Yeah.
And the offense put them in some bad situations. They put them on the field a lot, and quite frankly, wore them out in the end. The special teams put up 7. I do think the defense is better, but you can't have Duke Johnson and all these playmakers on the outside and not have the ability to get them the football. I mean, they have to do a better job at that spot. I don't know if it's a quarterback change or, more options in the offense, but something has to change.
And, Kaya's a talented guy, but it's asking a lot. Yeah, and he wasn't in for spring training either. A lot of times you'll see freshman quarterbacks who are at least getting to go through spring football that, have a little bit better chance. But it's tough to be a freshman and make that jump to this level.
What do coaches always say? Teams make the
Kickoff
biggest...
out of bounds on the kicking team. The ball was placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
I think their biggest improvements between week 1 and week 2, and certainly for young players and true freshmen, Miami's got a lot of them. It's not just Brad Kaya. This team has an opportunity to grow a lot here in the next several weeks.
So, yeah, and this is also a really good defense.
Yeah.
I mean, really surprised that they reloaded the front 7 like they did after losing all those guys. The secondary, especially the corners, we knew were going to be good, but this Louisville defense looks for real, too. Kyle will be happy to face somebody else.
We'll get to face Florida A&M.
That's going to be
Saturday. Arkansas State, the big play. Time completion to Herb Waters. But then late in September, they go to Nebraska. So he's got a couple of games to get warmed up. And Arkansas State won't be a walk in the park.
They've won 28 games in the last 3 years. And so they also got to play Cincinnati. 10 games on their schedule for bowl teams last year.
Kaya to Waters. Waters steps out of bounds.
These snaps right now, I think to a lot of people seem insignificant, but I guarantee to a young true freshman quarterback, these are all teaching moments that Al Gold and his coaching staff are going to evaluate. Any way you can get this young quarterback confidence, and right now in a 2-minute situation, you take it and you build on it, you keep working towards the next game.
Joe Yearby is checked in at running back. Kaya to Waters. 3 catches on this drive for Herb, junior from Homestead. But the story of the night is the performance of Louisville. Bob Petrino taking over. The defenses look stout. Gardner has some size. He's played pretty well. He's at 10 of 11 passes in the second half as Waters makes another catch and gets form tackled by Terrell Floyd.
Welcome back. And by the way, that guy right there, Bobby Petrino, he's now 23-1 when playing at home as the head coach at Louisville. You just don't roll in to Papa John's Stadium Expect to waltz out of here with a victory with Bobby Petrino at the helm.
You're going to have Florida State coming here to put that to a test, throw to the end zone. Stacy Colleen, that's not the only test. I don't think that while Louisville has looked good and you think that they'll continue to grow, you see Petrino talking with Will Gardner. Grew up a Georgia Bulldog fan, was injured his senior year in high school. Some of the recruiting slacked off, and Will found a home here at Louisville. And there's Tom Juritz, the athletic director, who brought Petrino back to Louisville. Visited with us in the first half.
It's probably the nicest Petrino's been to him since he's met him.
Are you saying Bob's a little tough on his quarterbacks from time to time?
I think he's next to impossibly tough. I mean, it's tough to be a quarterback. I mean, he said he coaches them like defensive linemen. I mean, he expects a lot. They demand perfection in practice, and there's also a reason why they've had so much success.
Well, yeah. I mean,
because he makes you work every single day, makes you understand the offense, and if you don't play good, you put somebody else in there.
Like Garrick McGee, you saw talking to him. He talked a little bit about the philosophy, and he and Petrino have worked together for years as Kaya's sack, of making it so hard and being so demanding and so tough that when they hit tough times in games, they're not phased. I mean, it's an age-old coaching axiom, but I think that doing it with the quarterback's a little bit different. There's no coddling quarterbacks in this
They're
system.
great teachers of a very complex offense. This isn't one of those spread offenses where the playbook is a minute amount of plays. Just look at the track record of these coaches and their quarterbacks and how efficient they've been. Go back to Stephon LaForce here, Brian Brom, Ryan Mallett, Tyler Wilson at Arkansas. All these guys put up tremendous numbers in one games. Will Gardner has the tools. And it's tough coaching, but if you take it, you take the good. He's got a lot of skills, guys. I mean, if I'm a Louisville fan, it's one game. There's a lot more to evaluate, and you're spoiled because you've had Teddy Bridgewater. But that coach in the background, and Garrick McGee is your offensive coordinator, this Will Gardner could be a household name, not just for fans inside the state of Kentucky, but for around the country as well. They are good teachers of the quarterback position.
But I think there is a different philosophy for a lot of coaches, because a lot of times it's about building confidence. You know, kind of coddling you at the quarterback spot, but not Bobby P.
Kaya to Waters. Herb's done just about all of his work tonight on this drive. Now 13 seconds remaining. Miami will have an opportunity to get an excuse me touchdown, which shouldn't matter to many. And false start.
False start. Offense, number 63, 5-yard, third down.
Now there's no 10-second runoff here because the clock was already stopped. You know, in the final minute, if there's an infraction that causes the clock to stop, they'd run it off. So that doesn't apply here. So there'll still be time for a couple more shots at the end zone for Al Golden's team. It's going to be a little, I don't know if heat's the right word, because I think everybody in the Miami administration is firmly on Golden's side, but the fans are ready for the Hurricanes to get over the hump. And Jesse, you mentioned it's been a difficult situation with all the uncertainty, and finally Al's out from under that as another flag flies.
False start. Number 74, offense, 5-yard, third down.
Boy, I was watching the end of the Miami-Louisville game, and Ole Miss and Boise State broke out with all the false starts. See, I wanted to bookend the weekend like that, David. We saw, I think it was, Jesse, at last count, you were at Texas A&M, South Carolina. I think there were 92 false start penalties on Ole Miss that night. Is that right, Mark Amento, stats man? Oh, 91, he tells me. Kaya trying to get one on the board for the Canes. Firing into traffic, and it's picked off. Heilman has it. Is he going to look for the ground? I don't think so. He's going to look for the end zone. There's a lineman back to stop him, and he tripped up. Joseph Yearby didn't want him to rub salt into that wound, and he got Heilman on the ground, and we have a final score. A winning night in the second debut of Bob Petrino as the Louisville head coach. 31-13, the Cardinals take down Miami, and they go 1-0 in the ACC. There will be better nights. for the freshman quarterback, Brad Kayas. That wraps up the first weekend of the college football season. Appreciate you being with us for our entire ESPN crew. And Samantha Ponder, David Pollock, and Jesse Palmer. I'm Reese Davis saying good night from Louisville. Sports Center is coming up.